All right, beautiful. Good morning and welcome to the MentFX private mentorship. This is webinar 154. We have a ton of great things on the agenda today. We want to get right into a number of things, do some really nice breakdowns for you guys, walk over some of the things that we saw occur this week, some of the problems I kind of seen, hopefully give you guys some solution, maybe focus on psychology, whatever it might be. And as always, discuss a little bit in regards to the Q&A and just have a really nice start to the week. As a lot of you might know, before we get started, Monday is an off day. So a lot of you should know that Monday, this is the 27th, which would be tomorrow, is actually a holiday. It's Memorial Day in the US, so a lot of you are probably still on like a vacation, a longer weekend. So just be ready and aware of the fact that tomorrow is a bank holiday. Don't go too crazy. Recognize that when there's a bank holiday, aka a more illiquid market, you're not going to get as clean of setups. And maybe a lot of the ways that some things have set up thus far might have kind of shown you that the upcoming week is going to be slower, at least at the very start of it. Okay. Now, as always, before we even get started, of course, just as a mini disclaimer, everything shared is my own personal opinion. It's not telling you to do any one thing whatsoever. Anytime I discuss money being made, money being lost, gaining RR, losing RR, getting funded, anything along that lens should be viewed as completely simulated. So just keep that in mind. This is just my personal opinion, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so that's all taken care of. Now, anyone that's brand new, first of all, I want to welcome you to the team. You made a phenomenal decision joining the team and getting access to all the resources and the tools and the software and the team and the people and everything else that you get with being here. So congratulations. And on top of that, congratulations for showing up to these webinars, because one of the main things and one of the best ways that you're going to learn is by simply showing up to these webinars week after week. Because even if there was, let's put it this way, no prior videos, no course, no nothing, and all you did is showed up to these videos to get a little bit of psychological help at the start of every week, to see a little bit about how we analyze given markets, how we look at markets, how we use the tools in these markets, how we use data collection, and just break down overall plays that we are taking ourselves, or that I'm taking, or that someone else is taking, or the progression someone else is making. That's already enough after around 10 to 20 webinars to basically have a full understanding of what we do, so you can go off and do this on your own. So it's a very, very powerful place to be, and it's very good that you're showing up to these. And we're going to just jump right into it. So usually the way I do this is I kind of read through the messages. If I see something that we can kind of get into and talk about, then I try to, and I try to break things down, because again, it's an ongoing learning curve from the first moment that you join here from the very first webinar to this webinar right now. Since the market is ever delivering, constantly delivering, there's constant nuances that we can go over and look at in any given week. But that's beautiful, because you get to see how this happens live, and you can see how it happens firsthand. Okay, so good morning to everybody here, and again, welcome to all the amazing members that have been here for a while, and welcome to all the new ones that will be the future OGs. Okay. Okay. Hope you all have your coffees as well. Carson says, I just took an insane max 48-hour trade in the backtest with partials 12.9R. With partials, it ended up at 12.9R. Very good, dude. And yeah, on a nice index. I'm guessing this is relatively recent, but yeah, a lot of the indexes, the US ones, the German ones, in this case, the Japanese ones, a lot of them are starting very beautiful deliveries. So I'm not surprised that you're able to, backtest and find really, really good trades, of course. Christ, I shit myself. Speakers were on full blast. Oh, Dan. Jamie says, didn't get my MentFX hoodie in time. Have to wait for the next week. It's all right, man. No worries. Good morning, team. I hope everyone had an amazing weekend. What's up, Sarah? Hope you're doing well as well, man. Did I select a different mic? Let's find out. Yeah. Nope. We are on with the correct mic. Everything looks good over on my end, at least. So, yeah. Are you telling us to full port NASDAQ tomorrow? Well, as a lot of you know, NASDAQ, something that we've been watching for a very, long time now. Just actually, let's like take a quick look at it. So this is NASDAQ right here, also known as US 100, also known as NAS 100, also known as NQ for all you futures traders, right? Generally the exact same market, just tradable differently based on the broker you're with or the asset type you're trading. So of course you're trading like the stock, the equity versus the future. This is all generally the same thing. But something absolutely beautiful in this market in regards to kind of what we've done here for a long time. If I go ahead, and for all you new members, this is number one thing for you to do, since you already have access to this now. If you go to mentfx.com or screener.mentfx.com, click on this more and go to screener, log in. You have full access to this, right? And again, we are just on the verge, maybe 3 weeks, maybe just a little bit under, on the verge of re-updating this to have like an infinite amount of more things, right? As a lot of you know, this for the most part, this very, very, I'm going to flag it, this very, very green thing right here, this has been NAS. And for the most part, because this is live in terms of when it shows you, this for the most part has been overall green. For the people that have been here for a while, they know this. For if you're brand new, I'm going to tell you right now, that has been for the most part fully green since around these times here. Since basically this break higher and the trade above, since price traded above this high right here. Maybe I can make that a different color to make it easier to see. Maybe like a blue, right? And then I'll bring it to the front. So since this basically break right here, this right here has generally not changed. For the most part, this has remained this green color, and hopefully a lot of our older members, so we do have a lot of original members that show up here that have been here for the entire time since March of 2023, can confirm this for you. The tools that we've had have basically shown this as it looks right here, since around these times here, a lot of those time frames started to roll over into being very green. And around that time, we started to keep an eye on basically the indexes or on NAS, US 100, NQ, whatever you want to call it. Because at around this time, the screener started to move into accumulation across the weekly, the 3-day, the daily. It's probably because what you had is you had prices finally breaking through the highs after going through, let's call them blueprints. And on the weeklies, it began to become bullish. On the lower time frames, it began to become bullish since we had multiple breaks higher, moving up above the MAs. And again, just at this point here, as you can see, I kind of highlight it, right? It made that range break across multiple time frames. And again, we don't use time frames for the purpose of just like seeing a time frame and be like, ooh, the time frame is so cool. We look at time frames for the purpose of understanding how did orders come into that market across multiple perspectives, and do they line up? And what's funny is exactly during this time, as price broke through this range on the weekly, the 3-day, the daily, almost all of those ranges at that moment became confirmed into an accumulation. So that was the moment that kind of sounded to us and told us, hey, this is a market to potentially start watching. Because as you can see on the daily, the 3-day, the weekly, the 12-hour, like any time frame you really want. And again, you don't even need the premium version of TradingView to see this because the screener does it for you, right? So you don't even need the premium, which is great. You can see at that point there, almost every single time frame moved into that bullishness. So I'm actually going to scroll down very quickly to see and make sure that you guys understand that this is confirmed by our members that have been here for a while, especially if you're new. And you can see Dan, someone that's been here for a very long time and actually has become part of the team here. He confirms it. Baguette confirms it. Merlin, I know Merlin has been here for a while, so he's kind of confirming it. Black, I know Black's been here for a really good time. He confirms it. Peace Pod, of course, can't go wrong with him. He confirms. King Nasty, recently funded with, I think now over 6 figures, 7 figures almost, right? King confirms it. Dino confirms it. So again, you have a lot of the members that have been here for a while that are now trading profitably, getting payouts, all the stuff you want to call it, confirming that since around this time in March and April, you had multiple time frames, or specifically the screener confirming overall bullishness. So like I said, right around this time here, right there, you had almost every time frame confirm this being true, which is beautiful because now you guys are right here, right now. And again, you'll be able to go back and see this, but right here, right now, you're seeing firsthand how over a year and a half later, about a year later, right, prices are overall still delivering off of that initial accumulation confirmation. And since then, we followed the next stages of new stage ones and twos, new accumulations, new reaccumulations, and continuation deliveries. And just over the last few weeks, we've continued to see, and we've continued to follow, the new flush outs into new reaccumulations to move higher. And again, the brand new lower time frame deliveries of stage ones and stage twos, stage ones and stage twos, stage ones, and now, as a lot of you should know, hopefully, stage twos. And again, before we even start this week, before we even do any breakdowns for the upcoming week or any breakdowns of prior action, a lot of you should know what I'm going to say about the upcoming week and what I expect on behalf of NASDAQ or on behalf of most stocks. The expectation, very simply, is that prices are going to likely continue delivering bullish, and I'm going to look to continue following it bullish. And very simply, if price begins to break down, it is a message to us to step away while all the other time frames begin to once again relocate into accumulation, the same way that you see within this screener right here. So what you'll see is if it begins to roll over and go the opposite way, a lot of these might drop into red or unconfirmed, at which point you simply take a step back and wait for it to reset up moves for you. Because again, there's nothing predicting whether price is going to do a version of this move right here, where it just keeps going again, or a version of let's say something like this. There's nothing stopping it from rolling over for a bit, for maybe a week even, and then the week after making the next run up, right? So nothing stops price from doing any one of those things. The only thing that we can do as traders is we can analyze the market in its given moment, understand what the likelihood of that next move is, and then follow confirmations in regards to what's happening, right? Because the cool thing is, you can, as I love to say, you can be wrong about this move. You could break down and not take anything as a result of it, because what usually will happen is on your actual time frames of entry or whatever it might be, right? It might just add up to a point where price breaks down, it becomes distribution, and there becomes no reason to even trade. And price can go into this long-term kind of sideways, maybe go consolidate, play around for a while, and nothing needs to be done. So this is the beauty of what you're learning here in regards to, you know, why do we look at multiple time frames? How do we see orders come into a market across multiple time frames? Why do we even look for it this way? Well, because when you do that, you have an expectation, and if the expectation delivers, you create an opportunity within which you can make a lot of money, or maybe even, you know, maybe you don't get to trade it, but that's okay. And if it rolls over, you have the understanding that you get to step aside. You have an invalidation point that allows you to walk away from that market and wait for new money to come in, right? So yeah, kind of like Tebs says here, this is literally the market mechanics. You understand fully what the market should do in regards to what it's been doing, in regards to its own screener readings, and how it wants to deliver, and if it does deliver, where it's likely to deliver to. Because as you guys saw over the last few weeks, and again, a lot of the members, even brand new members that have been here for like a month or two, can confirm the movement since about 1 month ago. So people that have been here basically since January, February, March, April, since around April 1st, have seen this happen firsthand. They saw the analysis here where I said price is likely going to reach up into somewhere around here. So I'm going to show you guys this really quickly. They saw firsthand this. I'm going to show you right now, for those of you that are new, how this came to fruition. This is what they saw. Yep, price should start at stage 2 that should deliver somewhere around here. Then the upcoming week after that one, as price began to go sideways, we re-updated what we expect, because now there's a new stage 1, so a new stage 2 could happen, at which point we said, okay, prices could likely reach up into like these new highs up here, which in the upcoming weeks we saw happen. And then it paused again. As it pauses, we assume that a new stage 1 has begun, is likely going to catch up, and then if a new stage 2 happens, we should see price reach up into somewhere around here. And now we are here. So a lot of you should be able to see, and now actually because it continues to go sideways, we can actually reevaluate this to go a little bit higher for stage 2. And all of a sudden, you know, you saw how simply following it from this point and watching as price delivered into its fractal stage 1s and 2s, because price simply moves through this means right here, right? Every time these moments occur, so these kind of sideways mini moments occur, aka stage 1s, you create a reevaluation of how much more you can keep moving on a higher base time frame. So all of a sudden, right, as these create these little sideways movements and continue to surf along these MAs and continue to be in accumulation, and the screener continues to show you that price wants to be accumulated, and that big money, the composite operator, is continuously stepping in on the long side, demanding price and clearing supply, well, you continue to reevaluate the higher points to which price may move. And as long as it continues delivering, you have the opportunity to trade either the actual asset itself. So this could be the US 100, the NQ, or the actual independent things that might be showing a lot of strength, like NVIDIA. So welcome to something that you've seen me trade kind of a few times, or try to get into a few times over the last few months, few weeks, and all of a sudden, from last week, right when I took this trade right here, it has just skyrocketed, right? I told you guys I would hold into earnings because I had built up a profit cushion, taken off a partial, so I was okay with seeing whatever earnings what to do. Prices did exactly what we discussed last week. So a lot of you might remember this from last week yourselves, where I said, I'm going to wait for next week, which should take off, kind of go sideways, and then on Thursday, which is when earnings come out, it probably is going to gap up. If someone wants to clip it right now or tell me what timestamp it was in during webinar 153, we can watch together just to take a quick look. But that's all we were looking for. And lo and behold, this Thursday, price gaps up as we discussed on the earnings. I'm still in this trade. I've moved the rest of my position to that low of the candle because basically, if it wants to fail, it can, because this for me is a very strengthy candle. And now here we are. So all I wait for now in the upcoming week is either we make new MBs so I can start to move my risk as I see fit to either MAs or the MBs, which we'll talk about, or price can just kind of like fuck around and then continue going, at which point I can continue to move, right? Or it can just take off again with insane strength and I can start partially into this strength here. Very, very simple. So for me, this is like a beautiful trade because now it's done nothing but create the opportunity for making only upside amounts of money, right? Which is amazing. And if I simply head over to the MetaFX data collection, I kind of try to input a few more of the last week or so, and I've inputted NVIDIA, which is this trade right here. And I've inputted the max I've gained so far on it. So if you guys can see this, let me zoom in a bit, right? This trade has guaranteed at minimum already 5.6 R, right? So simply, if this stops me out right now at this point, it's already guaranteed me overall 5.6 gain. And if it continues going up, that number only stands to increase, which again shows the power of simply having rules that try to keep you in a potential move, that allow you to manage up and up and up if something does take off, and create an environment where just simply using a very simple trail rule, whatever it might be, you create an upside that is infinite while the downside is already locked in at very immense profit. Because this already is more profit than I could ever have hoped over like a number of trades. So I've already guaranteed profit, and now the worst case scenario is that's how much I make, and the best case scenario is this becomes a 2x, 3x, or 4x multiple of itself, and simply becomes a random trade that runs like 26R or 14R or something super dumb, right? And again, you get to see kind of firsthand how the same simple kind of rules week to week of the things that I've done over and over and over again are being kind of confirmed by the equity curves or data curves, whatever you want to call it, right? So like the worst case scenario is this is where my curve is going to end up. The best case scenario is it goes higher, right? And that's a beautiful system to work at and to create because, well, you only stand to basically make a fuck ton and then you stand to lose nothing, which is just absolutely phenomenal, right? I mean, that's just really good. As a lot of you should be able to probably gauge and understand why that's really good, okay? But yeah, so this trade has been absolutely beautiful. And again, this was all taken and basically decided to be taken because of this, right? That same analysis we kind of just discussed where everything's been showing overall bullishness. Everything is continuing to deliver bullish. The NASDAQ, the US 100s are continuing to show that bullishness all the way since here. And since then, all we've done is we've followed the underlying trend. Every single week that we've shown up, we've followed the potential of new stage ones sideways and new stage twos, ones and twos, ones and twos, ones and twos, ones and twos, ones, and the twos don't deliver, so it begins a larger time from reaccumulation, begins to kind of break down, it gets sloppy, it goes long term into maybe a sideways action, so we ignore it up until, again, the point that I started to follow NAS again. So again, this is what I like to show because it shows you kind of live. I didn't follow most of the price anywhere inside of here until this break. because when that break right here occurred, again, a lot of time frames rolled back over to being bullish, and all of a sudden, I didn't start to follow this to the lows. I didn't start to follow this when the MA started to cross. I simply followed this when the overall thing became clear accumulation, when things broke again through new highs to reconfirm overall accumulation as other time frames became accumulation. So all of a sudden, I began to follow markets again around these points here and took this higher as it began to get choppier. If you guys remember, as price began to itself get choppier in or around these areas here, I again took a little step back because I wasn't sure if this was going to break down, go up, like why was it going sideways like it was? And then price broke it down and I began to ignore it again. And again, the only time I started following it was when this reaccumulation. So again, when you have prices that move higher, 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 and then break down lower, this is a reaccumulation because what you're creating is a institutional structuralized based on section 1 bullishness. So I waited until lower time frames began to re-roll over into bullishness, and around this time here, as other time frames showed the bullishness, and as we cross through this intermediate kind of high, this MB high, whatever you want to call it, up over the MAs, at that point again, we started the expectation that a new stage 1 and 2, stage 1 and 2 would begin. And hence, here we are, and hence, in the upcoming week, we again have an expectation within a very, very clearly bullish market with the expectation of price to continue moving, which is why I simply get to hold the rest of my other trades to the bullish side, because now everything has proven itself, it continues to prove itself, and there's nothing more for me to do than be in it. And again, same thing kind of on Bitcoin, right? Same exact thing, kind of same very bullish market. I started to take longs again. I got into those longs that I shared right here, and I'm still in this trade. I took about 50%, and now all I have to wait for is potential upside, right? And I want to show you guys something really cool on this, because again, it's very important that you see that these things don't come out of like nowhere. These things don't just come out of my ass and I just randomly predict things all the time where like, you know, it's all after the fact, blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking through MetaFX trade ideas right now. I just want to scroll up a little bit to show you all kind of how these ideas form. Actually, before I even click on anything, can any of you tell me how long, on average, I've been bullish on Bitcoin, on GBTC? So I'm going to make some here. I'll make some segments. Here's 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want you guys to give me a number since when a lot of us in the team began to be very bullish on this thing. And again, for anyone that's new, I want to remind you that just like NAS, this is what Bitcoin has generally looked like. So ignore some of the red, but this is what Bitcoin has generally looked like over the last few months. A lot of people are saying 2, 3, 4. You guys are generally correct. Yeah. So around these, I think around 3, you're correct. We were kind of bullish, but I didn't even trade it. Around 4, we were very bullish. And all of this, I missed. I didn't even trade all this. At 5, we were exceptionally bullish. All of us understood that this market's bullish, it's showing bullishness, it's an accumulation, a reaccumulation, it's likely to deliver. The stage 1s and new stage 2s should keep delivering bullish. And if a lot of you remember, my trade came from right there. In the 5th segment, I traded this little ICI move here as prices went through a longer stage 1 and began to pop back over and move into bullishness. I took longs inside of here. For this, there it is. For this trade right here, that's the trade I took. And this is the same time that member that we discussed, or actually a lot of you took longs here, but this is where another member who proved it to me made 100K in earnings, raw earnings, real money on this trade as well. He traded it actually inside of like here or here. Thank you for the annotation guy. Thank you. There we go. He traded it right inside of there, right? So, and I can show you guys the context time frame. Here we go, the higher time frame. That's where it was. Okay, that's the weekly. Let me show you guys a daily or something. There we go. That's that moment. That's where it occurred. That same run up went into a deeper stage 1. Price started to pop back over and started making this fractal like kind of sideways. Not Frank, it's all good. Thank you very much. And this is where we took it long, right? And that's where a lot of people also took it long. And some people even took it long inside of here. And we took this thing up, managed it, and again, managed it up in the 6. We were still bullish. I then tried to get a trade on it around these points here, but then it failed down. Then it went through longer term moves down, which I ignored until very recently that price started to again break over the highs. Does this look, guys, does this look familiar to anyone? Did NVIDIA do the same thing? Did NASDAQ 100 do the same thing? They did the exact same thing. They started to break down in reaccumulation. They started to break above the MAs, and this is when I started to follow them on a lower time frame. And at that point, as those bullish market mechanics kind of started to show up, I'm going to show you guys something really cool now. Around those times, this is what I sent out. Price proved itself. For all you new members, here's the image. Actually, let me open this in the browser. Here's the image of what the screener looked like at this point. This is what it looked like. Does this show you, before I even look at the market, does this screener show you that price is being accumulated and wants to move long and that there's demand? Or is it showing you that it's being clearly distributed and that price wants to go down and that supply is coming in? Which one is this image here showing you? I'm going to have a sip of coffee. Yeah, you guys are right. Accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. Now, we did have one answer. I don't want to skip it. Bot Boy Sean says it's distribution. What about this, in your mind right now, is screaming distribution? That's the number one for you. Answer that, and we'll look over why. And then John says it's redistribution, though. I'll ask you as well. So John says models equals redistribution. Does it? Let's go through it. Price is breaking up. Price is breaking down. Price is most recently broken up. So theoretically, if you want to look at the most recent, like just this moment here, you can maybe call this a redistribution. Sure, maybe. Now, as a whole, you should be able to look at this and basically say, okay, this is accumulation. And most recently, the fact that you have a little bit of sideways action within this area, with most recently price breaking up over all the MAs and breaking over to this institutional structure right here, should lead you to instant reaccumulation or accumulation. Mainly accumulation. Because again, context is what matters, not the direct one time frame based approach, because a time frame is not definitionally what moves price, is it? Again, so John, it seems like you're really tunnel visioned on any one given time frame. It sounds to me like if a 1 hour is maybe based on, I mean, even here, the 1 hour, I believe, was in accumulation. Yeah, you can see down here, actually, at the bottom right, the 65-minute or the 60-minute, it says accumulation, at least for me. So I assume accumulation instantly, especially with the context of the market. Now, what did Bot Boy say? He said multiple breaks down previously. So again, to me, so two members that said that, all I'm seeing is a very big, like tunnel vision, a very big focus on the independent one time frame rather than the lookup at a whole. The second you see this as an image, your mind should be going, there is overall bullishness in this. I want to support that bullishness within price. That's all that should be happening. So on the 4 hour, it's showing you kind of this rough and tumble back and forth, which actually at the time, if you notice here, it wasn't distribution because of this rough and tumble, but every other time frame on top of it, the 1 day showing a reaccumulation. It is clearly showing you that price wants to sail higher with the MAs, that's moving higher with the MAs over and over and over again. You should see this moment here similarly to this moment here. There's like no difference there. And then as you go through the time frames of these moments here, all of them point towards that overall bullishness. So when you start seeing these breaks, especially breaks above all the MAs, again, and even the reading at the time was a reaccumulation. But even without that, if it said redistribution, all of the things happening in your mind should be pushing towards accumulation, 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 right? You can't be tunnel visioned on the one independent time frame, especially when that time frame is telling you it's accumulation. So like the only thing that I'm hearing from some of the members that thought, or from the two members that thought this is definitely distribution, is they looked at one time frame, the hourly, and said because there were breaks down and now there is a break up, that is a redistribution, which is very, very, I mean, theoretically, if that's a rule that you want to use for yourself, it's fine, but that's a very crazy assessment to make when the market, the screener, is telling you very clearly where it's moving and how it's moving. Every other time frame is telling you a specific thing. You have the lineup then of the MAs. You have the lineup then of price basically kind of chopping back and forth just under the MAs and like at this area here. And then not only that, but then you have this crazy run up, pause, and a run up above all MAs. At that point, no matter what, that break should be signifying to you that money is locking into the demand side. Whether it now delivers or not, or how it delivers doesn't matter. Whether you miss it or not does not matter. But what it's telling you, because you put together the story, you don't decide on one given time frame what's going on. It's telling you that demand is absorbing all supply and now probably wants to make a run on that supply, which is why this is the image I sent out. As price pops over, the first thing I expect is that price is likely going to make an ICI to trade higher. So I'd actually made one right here. If any of you traded this buy stop ICI right here, that was a phenomenal trade. I'm not against it. For me personally, it's just way too high above this MA. For me personally, all I wanted to see was for price to correct into maybe one of the MAs and then set up a setup, just like this. So you can see, this is exactly what I sent out to the team on this day. Here it is. This is what I sent out. Price beautifully moving through that accumulation. Again, I kind of try to include everything in one image. Each one of these images, the way I like you to think about it, serves as their own course, serves as their own kind of studies of how do we approach a market. Here's GBTC, something that on the screener is reading bullish, bullish. Let's actually annotate this. Something on the screener that is annotating bullish, bullish, bullish. I want to move bullish. That on the time frame you're on is annotating bullish, 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 and likely bullish. That through the actual action itself, across the context and validation timeframes, have already proven bullishness, have proven that they want to move long. Those are kind of those MBs on a higher time frame. And then on the time frame of entry, so 1, 2, 3 across time frames, and then on the time frame of actual entry, which would be the 65-minute in this case for me, or the 60-minute, whatever, 1 hour or 65-minute, I don't care what you use, right, has proven I've made a push, money's come in, I've paused, and price has made a continuation push higher through all the MAs. So 3 could be, 4 could be the structure, 5 could be the move across all MAs, right? And 6 is the fact that we are likely now set up an ICI just at one of these MAs because that's how prices move. Oftentimes when prices prove themselves, they usually create an ICI setup, then they might create a second one. The second one might move a little bit, then break down, make a flush, and then start a longer term. Again, same thing again, right? Because this would be too late, or this is a mini entry opportunity, This is where you can scalp the market, let's say. This is where you get into the market at hopes of making a bigger move, right? And then you can wait for flush outs to start new, large moves higher. That's how markets move. And this is actually something that I'm going to cover and go even more in depth with in the currently being worked on. What's it called? MentFX mastery section for everybody, right? Where I kind of try to give you the actual cycle. So that's what I've been working on. That's what I'm going to try to work on a lot tomorrow, since tomorrow's a day off. But yeah, everything's pointed. In this image alone, you have more information than a lot of you are going to receive in any other YouTube video, in any course online, all this stuff, right? That's kind of the idea of what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to give you images that basically put in motion one example of exactly what you're looking for, or the exact way that I approach a trade, right? So this is what was sent out. Price is moving higher, everything's accumulation. This is my expectancy. That's where I want to enter. And then I said it myself. Bitcoin is starting a little turn up here. I will get involved in this if it can set up an ICI tomorrow morning or later this week. Remember this action now. Remember this up candle with the little wick. Just remember that for a second. What do you see? This is where it was sent to you. And I said, tomorrow or later this week, Price should come down and hit the MA, and then come up and give you an ICI setup. Here's the image. There it is. Remember this image for a second. Price catches up with the MAs. ICIs me in. Start to move, I move to break even. I partial into the loss of momentum up here. I hold the rest, it almost stops me out, and now I'm here. And very simply, a lot of you should be able to look at this and understand what the next potential of this is. So here is your Bitcoin upcoming week expectation, right? This is likely to repeat now here. Okay, that's it. It's as simple as that. Prices now are likely to, tomorrow or after tomorrow, catch up with one of these MAs and make an ICI run, or take off a bit higher, catch up with the MA by a bit, and take off higher. And then make probably another setup somewhere up here that will run for a bit before collapsing again through the same kind of move, and then, or even flush out even higher, harder, and then go much higher. Similarly, it can make a little move, take off a bit, and flush out much lower, right? And then continue, maybe with a little bit like harder setup, because once you get later into a move, the setups are much harder to find and trade, but it can happen, and then trade higher. So the upcoming week, very simply, should show you what kind of opportunities should be present given the current move. And notice how this is no different from the moments here. Prices proved that they want to move bullish. I took the entry. Prices proved that they want to move bullish. You should take the entry and take it higher. And then it should deliver higher and higher and higher. And why should it deliver higher? Because the same tools that have been telling you the same thing for a long time are still telling you the same thing. The bullishness is present. The time frame of entry is present. The higher base time frames, whatever those time frames might be, are still present for that clear bullishness. They're in accumulation now. The much higher time frames are still present for what? Continuation bullish. So this price should, according to all metrics, okay, as you can see here, go through, this was the stage one, this started the stage two, right now it's in another stage one. It might go for a stage one for another maybe 2 days, 3 days, but it should make a move up. And if I look at actual Bitcoin, if you want the numbers, here they are, okay? Stage one, stage two, here's your stage one. Guys, prices will likely be at just under $80,000 in the next week or two. How does Ment predict all the fucking markets? I look at the reading. I then look at the cycle of the move. The cycle of this move tells me what? That price is right here at the moment, right here. And it wants to make a move higher. So all I can do is look for a reason to get long on this, because everything's lining up. Or if I'm in a long, what do I want to look for? Best ways to possibly manage this, to take it higher, because everything is pointing towards the fact that this thing wants to continue delivering. And I simply get to sit on the sideline now and wait for it to continue delivering higher. And very simply, when prices are in this upcoming week at around 70, let's just call it 77,000, and the world is again surprised, and they call it because it's red news, and they say because Bitcoin is being accepted by 15 different new funds, and BlackRock is invested in Bitcoin, and the world's over. Just know it's because we simply have overall confirmation on behalf of the screener. We have overall demonstration across lower timeframes. We have new stage ones and stage twos delivering. We are just sailing and bouncing off of the first time that we're having a stage one over the MAs. So the likelihood is continuation delivery long. And as new demand comes in, we expect the longs. Howling says, can you please demonstrate this on lower times as well to help? Yeah, it's the entry I took, right? The exact entry I took. Because what happened, right? Price moved into accumulation. So here's your longer term stage one. That was then made up of a little stage one into two. A new stage one into two. That's the one I took. A new stage one into two that doesn't hold because now you're later in the stages. Now it's making a new longer term stage one that's now being made up of a new small stage one and a stage two that should this week do what? Go into potentially a stage one here or a little bit higher. and deliver this stage 2. So if you, as a lower time frame trader, or in this case on the hourly, within that action, get involved somewhere inside of here, that's going to create the best possible opportunity for you to run out that higher time frame, stage 2. That's how markets deliver. That's how I got into my trade. That's exactly where it came from. And now my expectancy, if I'm not in it, is to try to get involved, or hopefully to hold my stop here. Hopefully it doesn't touch it, it doesn't stop it out, and start making new MBs higher. Because if we make new MBs higher, that gives me the opportunity to manage so that this price can either take off and make me a lot more money, or take me out, and that's okay, because that's how money is made over time. Do you understand that, Shellings? It's a repetition of the exact same thing we just looked at on the higher, right? The higher, all it's doing is it's setting up precedent for a move. Then the lowers, in the event that they're being confirmed and showing the same thing, are going to create those same fractal moves over and over and over again within the price, right? So like this, it went into a deeper stage 1, starts a 1, 2, 1, the expectation is a 2, at least to probably this action here. So inside of there, we should see the same thing happen on like a 30-minute chart even, right? So if we go here, what are you going to see? Well, take a look. Within that, you have the long-term cycle play out here. You might have gotten this trade or this trade. If you did, notice you'd be in this move now. But if you didn't, let's say you waited. Inside of here, what happens? You start going into a reaccumulation on the 30-minute. Price starts to break higher and goes through, again, stage 1, 2. Stage 1 creates an ICI, a tradable one, that you take, you manage, and price never returns, delivers this stage 2, you manage expectations and manage your stop losses as you see fit, and price then either fails down and takes you out, or delivers a multi-bagger that makes your account go to such highs that you never, ever care about another loss ever again, because you start realizing how markets deliver, right? And again, if you wanted to trade an even lower time frame, okay, what do you think is going to happen, okay, if I highlight again, stage 1, stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, what do you think is going to happen inside of here on a 5-minute chart? You're going to get the same cycle. What do you see? Longer term reaccumulation, starts a move, ICI, that never gets returned to. Starts a move, a harder ICI to trade, but never returns to. Fails down, flushes out, starts a move, starts a move, starts a move. Same exact thing. And those go on to make runners. There's no difference. It's made of the exact same fractal of the fractal of the fractal. It's the same thing on a repeat. Stage 1 to stage 2, stage 1 to stage 2. Accumulation into flush out, into reaccumulation, into new ICI setups. Over and over and over again. Does everybody follow the action that we're seeing or have seen on Bitcoin, and how it's the same no matter what time frame you end up on? Shellings, do you follow how the lower time frame had nothing different to do with it? It's just that we need to properly scale through the time frames we look at, because again, if we look at a daily and go straight to a 5-minute, we're going to get caught in more chop. If we go from a daily to, what's 5 minutes times 6, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. If we go from the 30-minute and understand where we are in the 30, then we're going to get opportunity on the 5 without it catching us into too much chop. Because again, the price action is going to be different based on how low or high you are, but it's going to be the same if you create a proper relative idea behind it, which is why we use EVC, right? Which is why we use 6x, 10x, or 60x, right? That's what this rule came from. Sometimes the stage 1s happen very quickly, and if we go higher, it looks like a little overextend in the moment. It is. On the validation time frame, that's exactly what it is, or even the entry time frame. If you're not entering so entry time frame, let's say flushes out, it starts to move, it gives you an ICI. If you don't trade this ICI, it might make one here, go, and then fail instantly. But that's because you're trading a late stage ICI within the entry time frame. If you need to get involved on the ICIs within the initial stage 1s and 2s to then get a potential flush out that keeps you in the move for the next pronounced move. That's exactly what I'm going for when I take this entry right here. I'm getting involved on the first and early ICI, right? If I took this one, I'm already late. I get stopped out. This one has now kept me in the move. Now, I don't know if it's going to keep me in forever, right? Because I'm in this move right here. I hope it does, but there's nothing saying that this can't stop me out as well. But I got in early enough off the first ICI or the initial stage 1 and 2, literally the first one that happened, that's likely going to keep me now on the move. Similarly on NVIDIA, the trade that I'm in, look at this. I got involved on the first move. What would happen, Shellings, if I took this one? I get my little move, I get flushed out. That's how it works. Look, if I took this one, what happens? I sustain the move. If I took this one, what happens? I get taken out. And sometimes you take the first one, or the first one, and it does stop you out. Right? You can't predict that, but you also need to understand how on an entry time frame, oftentimes on the entry time frame, if you don't take the first setup, or like the very first good setup, and you start taking the future setups, and this happens, and then this happens, you know, it's because you're taking the later stage ICI. You need to be aware and get used to seeing these earlier stage ones. Satchel says, Anton, on your drawing, it looks like you always want to take your entry within the range. Because a lot of the time the entry is within the range, but it does not have to be. But almost always all the good ones are. Right? So like if I look at back to GBTC, this one was not in the range, but it actually was the range. Right? It started moving. This is the ICI that it's set up. It's literally the MB itself. There it is. So I entered it. Okay, let's go back up here. Let's go back up here a little bit. And yeah, and it's just been beautiful, beautiful delivery. So we had some members confirm our things that we were discussing. Still milking that NVIDIA. Yes, sir. We are in this. This looks like a complete, like a crazy winner. I hope I manage this well enough without getting too emotional so I can sustain this overall move. You know, I'm okay if it stops me out here because I want to secure this empty space, let's call it, or this up, you know, power. So I'm okay if it takes me out here. But the only thing I don't want to do is screw this up where it makes like a big move, and then I move, and then it stops me out, and then it makes the big move, just like kind of Bitcoin did. I'm going to try to keep my stop loss here, let this like do its thing, or even go crazy. Like even if it goes crazy on Monday or Tuesday, sorry, like this, because Monday's going to be closed. If it goes crazy like this, I will actually hold my stop here and wait, and hopefully let it find itself, and then as it takes off, move my stop to the new MB or the MB here, and try to manage this with some of that. And then if it then makes a crazy move, I'll try to partial into this, right? Because again, I'm trying to improve my upside. I know that I'm profitable just with my kind of initial partials, and now with my current management already. But if I can find ways to better manage my winners, the ones that really just go crazy, right? Because like now, you might get a thing that's like, NVIDIA is now using more AI than ever before, or something stupid, right? I don't care what it is. Then all of a sudden, it's like here, right? Great, right? My simple rules and the fact that I'm being less emotional over the way that I'm managing are keeping me in this move now. And that's what I want to aim to do with my trading, right? Because my trading has gotten very good over the last few years. So if I can sustain a nicer move because, you know, I'm getting involved in really clean areas, that would be amazing, right? Like even consider my GBTC move. I got into this thing here. Price has never returned there. And like since then, look what it's done. This is wild, right? I'm really happy with my exit on this, right? I exited this thing here or here. I exited it somewhere here, I think, right there. And like, I took a partial here, here, and then the third one here. Imagine if I can just fix my rules a little bit to take my first partial here, which is okay. I'm okay with that first partial. But then not take this one, don't take that, and just wait and allow that management to come in and then take my second one here. This gain would have been probably 40 RR. instead of like 26, which is a crazy, crazy thing to consider. But that's what happens when you improve those rules. So that is why my focus now is on improving the way that I manage, right? Even though I'm very profitable with the current set of standards and rules that I have. So I'm going to try and not screw this one up if it wants to keep going. And I'm going to try and do my best to manage this more accordingly as it delivers, instead of just moving it up. Because right now, even, a part of me, so even your mentor guys, even the guy that, you kind of learn from, even right now, a part of me just wants to go, okay, another 50% here or here. Every part of me right now wants to do that, okay? And it might end up making money, but I know over time, if I don't do that, I'm probably going to make even more. So I'm going to allow this to do its thing now and manage it accordingly like this. Because again, emotions are fine. They exist and they're going to exist as you're a trader. But it's how you deal with the emotions that come up and whether the emotions that you have are actually stopping you from being profitable or not. Right? The emotions that I have affect me are not ones that are stopping my profitability. They are just stopping the potential of much higher long-term profitability. So I want to find a way to really milk a move when I'm in something, right? So Mazzero says, I am profitable in backtesting for a long time now and improved my system even further by really focusing on choppiness on all time frames. This really made a big difference on the last bit of randomness in my system. Good. I'm having a hard time forming a mental image of what price action is too choppy. And that's okay. It's a lot of work to do that, of course. I know you can't answer this, but I would like it if you could say something about your personal threshold for too choppy to trade. There's a lot of elements of too choppy to trade, a lot, right? It could be the MAs on the validation time frame or on the entry time frame, usually on the entry time frame. It could be the look of the prior delivery of structure on the entry time frame, validation time frame, or even the context time frame, right? There's a lot of things that go into chop, right? It very much depends on. I think you should focus a lot on how have prior stage 1s and 2s delivered, how is the prior structure of a given move on the validation and the entry time frame delivering, and then what does the actual good moves look like on the context time frame. Those are the things you want to focus on, okay? But there is one thing I wanted to discuss about backtesting to live markets. Okay, so let's do that very quickly. I call it actualizing your edge. This happened a while back, but basically, someone messaged this right here. Actually, he was just sharing what he did, right? So he just said, hey, I'm doing very well. You deserve a Grammy. Okay, thank you. But very simply, he started to record data and he's seen that data deliver beautifully, And at this kind of point in time, this is where I would literally tell someone to, hey, you need to start some form of forward test, whether it be a funded account, a mini live account, a small live account. Again, this is not me telling you guys to do this. This is my own personal opinion of what I've done. But when you have something like this in front of you, if I have something like this in front of me, the number one thing I want to do right now is start some form of live trading where I'm in a kind of live environment. I'm on a funded account or I'm on a personal small account, because what I call it, what you need to start doing, as I say here, is there's clearly an edge here. Can everyone understand and look at this and understand that there's an edge here? There is. No matter how you want to swing it, this is an edge. But the problem now, again, is if someone goes directly from backtesting to a full-on, crazy, live, big funded account, there's likely going to be some psychological things that get in the way, of course, because psychology is a big issue. And if you're not used to the way that your system delivers with time, it's going to be very crazy. Because a lot of us, when we do this backtesting, have not gotten used to the time that we're going to be spending actually doing this. A lot of us don't have a framework for, hey, when I get on, it's going to take 3 days, 4 days for this action to deliver before I took this long. That's 4 days of me waiting. There's nothing for me to do. There's some people don't understand that when something's not clear, there's going to be a month of waiting for the setup to become clearer. Because before, that same setup right there would have taken you 5 seconds of playing the bar forward. So you need to start to recognize and truly feel what it's like to show up any given day, to wait for a setup, to not force a setup, to not force a bias just because it exists, right? And start to what I call actualize your edge. So actualizing your edge is very important, but this only comes as a factor when you have this done, which is why a lot of you should be focusing on doing this. If you haven't started this, you need to start it. Because once you have this, then there's an edge. But the problem is if you start to execute that edge instantly on a funded account, a big funded account, you're going to lose that account almost instantly. because you haven't started to actualize what a process of trading with either you not having a job, maybe you have a job, maybe you have a schedule. What does actually trading this system perform like, right? How much time can you dedicate? How are you sitting in front of your PC? How are you waking up, right? All this stuff is important because that's going to decide whether you get trades, whether you don't get trades, whether you start forcing things just because there's nothing to do, right? During a week where there's nothing to do, during a week where there's a big correction, during a week where US 100 is correcting big time, like this, what do you end up doing? Do you start to force many trades? You start looking at a lower time frame for a little move that you maybe could get because, oh, fuck, I just want to get something. Or do you sit on your ass and go, there's nothing for me to do here. Let me go read a podcast. Let me go outside. Let me go and work my job. What do you end up doing? Because those things are going to determine your edge, your actual live edge in the future. So the one thing that's very, very important is if you are, like Macero says here, profitable in backtesting, you really, really, really need to start actualizing the process by doing some form of live testing, live forward testing, live paper trading forward testing, live real small account testing, live funded account testing, maybe Ment funding, Ment funding, wink, wink, whatever you want to do. I don't really care, but anything. You need to do some form of live of it because you want to get very used to seeing how this edge now delivers over time because for all you may know, this right here could take 3 months. But you're not ever going to feel that because if you've been backtesting, which is a very good thing you've done, to do this same thing, it probably took you an hour. So of course your measurement of time is going to be so fucked if you haven't done this kind of actualization that if you go instantly to a super big account just out of nowhere and it's going, I've got this thing in the bag, and then you have a normal, not good context, you're going to be in a really bad position. Right, so this is kind of one thing I wanted to talk about today, which is actualize your edge. Allow your edge to show you firsthand how does it actually deliver. What are the times that you're spending on the charts? How long are you looking at this? What time are you waking up? What does the process of scanning and looking at a number of markets look like for you? What kind of setups become available, and how do you actually take them? Are you sitting there like, what's going on? Because if you throw yourself in instantly, right, you're just going to have issues. So, yeah. And just as well as that, right, Macero, if you're profitable in backtesting, but then live, it's all crazy because it's choppy, you don't know what's going on, that's literally where that issue is coming from. In backtesting, right, you have a bad context. Ready? Watch this. Here I go. Oh, I'm backtesting. Oh, I don't like this context. Okay, I'll wait. It says reaccumulation, but it's under the 200. It's not clear. Okay, I'll wait a little bit. Okay, this is where we started. I'll wait a little bit. It's not clear yet. I'll just wait for a clear accumulation. Is this accumulation? I don't know. I'll just wait. And I'll still wait. It's kind of coming up, but I'll wait because it's just not clear yet. Oh, good thing I waited. I'll keep waiting a little bit. Wait, it's an accumulation. Would I have traded here? Hey, maybe I would. Okay, let me start trading it now. Here I go. Whoa! Oh, okay. Oh, didn't work for a few weeks. I'll stop trading it. Let's wait. Oh, it's coming up again. I'll start trading it again here. Here I go. Finally starting to trade again. Oh, wow. I'm winning so many trades. And all of a sudden, what am I seeing? I'm seeing a ton of good performance on my backtesting, right? It looks like it's just going up, up, up. But you just did that right there in 30 seconds. That 30 seconds in a real life environment was 206 days. That was over 2/3 of a year of you sitting there going, nope, this is awful. Nope, I'll skip all of that. And now you're live and you're sitting there. Now you're in the live environment, and this is what you show up to. And you go, but it could be bold. Like, let me see a 5-minute. Come on, is there some accumulation? There's not, but I'll wait maybe a little bit. Come on. Fuck it, I'll go even lower. Show me some accumulation. Oh, fuck. Right, I screwed it up. But again, you see some accumulation, like, I gotta trade it. But the problem now is that you haven't actualized an edge of how long it now takes for something like this to occur. You haven't realized that any one independent market might take 2/3 of a year, 200 days of you sitting there going, nope. As a trader now, I can look at anything. I could look at like the shittiest stock in the world over the last 4 years and go, nope, all done. A lot of other people can't do that, especially if they're attached to a market, right? Even like Bitcoin. A lot of people felt like that during like these times here. They're like, I can't. I need something. I need something. This was how long? This was a month of data. That's a month of time of doing nothing. A lot of people can't show up in the actual live environment and go, nope, nope, for 30 days. Here goes day 1. Nope, day 2. Nope, day 3. Nope, day 4. Nope, for 30 days straight. That's where this idea of I'm getting caught in the choppiness in a live market is coming from. You're very, very, very used to the back testing of next button, next button, next button. Oh, it's clear. Let me see on a lower time frame. Nope, it's not clear. Next button, next button. Oh, invalidated. Next button, next button, next button. And all of a sudden, a year passed. But you need to actualize that process or you're going to be fucked for life, right? Anton, I like your beard. Thank you, sir. I actually need to get shaved, but I appreciate it. Anybody know how to clip part of the screener like that and paste it on the charts on Mac? Yeah, there's like the thing called screen capture or like, I don't know. You can even download Yazo. That's what I use. And yeah, so King is at 7 figures. Very good, dude. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Good job, man. NVIDIA from Merlin. Yeah, phenomenal. You're actually in it as well with me. Good job, dude. Yep. As simple as that. Took this higher. Beauty. Beauty. I don't know if I'll take that 4-hour chart setup, but let's take a look what we got here. Yeah, so like, look, I entered this thing here, but on like a 4-hour. So like on a 4-hour, I might have, no, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I probably would have taken this trade here on the 4-hour, right? Through this high, or yeah, probably this high right here. This would be my trade. And then I probably break even on this earnings day here. And that would be in big profit. But again, you have a little bit of a different rule for yourself for what you'll enter. So that was a phenomenal trade. I also have off-market hours off. But yeah, this is great. Such a beautiful trade. Yep, this is a phenomenal trade. I'm very happy with this trade. And again, like, this came from nowhere, right? Like, I can kind of go back a little bit into the manufacturers and kind of show you what this came from in regards to the fact that, hey, when I took this, where was my NVIDIA trade? When I took this initially, where was my initial trade on this? Here. No, not even there yet. I said it's somewhere, but I don't remember where it is. When I still had full risk. Yes, this is gapped up and I moved to break even. But at the time of taking this, oh, beautiful. Okay, I found it. So when I first got into NVIDIA, right, when I traded this thing long and took it, you'll see at this point, I was still full risk on this. Okay, I was still full risk. And I had no expectancy of this delivering at all. Okay. And what you'll see, I even wrote for myself, like psychologically, and a lot of you should take something from this is, a very nice trading day. I'm happy with all my executions and my rules. There's no guarantee right now of making money on these trades yet. All of them could turn against me because still I have full risk on this. But I'm really glad with my analysis, my execution, and my rules. So you can see that I was already extremely happy with just the rules I followed at this point when this was not even moved to break even. Because I understand for myself that I am following my rules the way I should be following them. I'm taking an entry when it makes the most sense to take one, and I'm very happy with the analysis that I applied. And what's the analysis? It's the accumulation on this time frame, accumulation across all the other time frames. So again, this, okay, guys, little screeny. This is still in beta. It's static, which is why we haven't made it available to everyone yet. I'm charged every click that I make on it, so that's why it's not fully made available just yet. But I'm working on it, and you can see that at the time, this was from a few weeks back, like 2 weeks back. This thing was telling me, right, a very simple story kind of about what it wanted to do, and then you'll have this functionality, which is so cool. This is awesome. You guys will love this shit. You get to see all that nonsense, but this thing was showing all the bullishness, and then I took the trade through the ICI. And all I could think at the time of taking it, was still having full risk and having the ability to lose all my money still, okay, was I'm so proud of the way I followed my rules. And, one of the things I want to discuss today is that a lot of you should be treating your analysis of how you're doing on this metric. It's not, am I making money? Am I making positive RR? Those things should come from your testing. Those things should not come from the live trading. And then when you're live, the only thing you should be really rewarding yourself for is, did I follow my rules? Did I execute on good analysis? Did I refrain from executing during bad analysis? Did I refrain from trading a bad, choppy market? Yes or no? And if those things are yeses, you've done your work. You are the top performer of the job. You are the employee of the month of the day. Okay? That's where you should reward yourself. The reward of yourself in a live environment is not from, I made money. The reward is directly from this. I'm likely going to lose this trade. I'm likely going to lose money on this trade, but I am so happy with the way that I followed my rules and the way within which I executed this market. That's what you reward yourself for. And then when the true reward does come from those executions, you can say, this is happening because of the fact that I follow my rules. That's it. That's as far as it goes. Aid says, at 2 hours and 10 minutes, webinar 153, you talk about NVIDIA. Yeah, and I talk about how I want to see it go. You can see I even drew it. I'm like, yeah, you should deliver. Looks really good. Good stuff, man. Thank you. Amazing being able to see this all in one time frame. Yep. All it takes, so like that's why I try to show it the way I do, where you can look at one image and apply it as its own trade plan, right? So where is it? Not there. Here. Wait, not here. That's where I already executed it. There it is. This in itself, guys, this image, you can go back, you can find it in the MetaFX trade ideas. This is its own screenshot of a trade plan. This is what I want to see in a trade for me to take it. This is what I look for. So one of the easiest ways to get started, even as a brand new member, is like, especially if this is your first webinar, like you're really lucky to be here on a webinar like this. You have an exact replica of why did he take a trade, what were the thoughts behind it, how did he enter it, and how can I do the same? And that reminds me of another thing that I saw today. Because someone asked, he basically said he's brand new, as you can see, May 24th. So he's been here for 2 days, or maybe a little bit longer if he's been here before. But one of the things he starts with is, does anyone have images on what's considered a clean ICI? Matt will say this in webinars, but when questioned on it, the usual answer is, I don't know, it just is. First of all, I don't think this is true at all. But if it is, then, it doesn't matter because you can do the work yourself. But that's not what my answer is ever. A clean ICI is clean because it follows a few variables of why it's clean. And actually, I responded with a bit of them. He didn't respond just yet, but I basically said this, right? If you really want to know right now, so for everyone, this is the true sauce. A clean ICI is one that meets your rules and context. And here it goes. For me, this is what a clean ICI is. A clean ICI is one that comes from a good context, a market that has proven itself before, a market that is clearly ready or can make a run on a contextual and a higher time frame, a clear early stage 1 and 2 cycle on the validation time frame, oftentimes within a stage 1 before going lower. On the entry time frame, a clear move out of a blueprint accumulation, usually an earlier ICI, just as it starts to come up or setting up over the EMA, which you might have seen here or here. Often a nice flush out and a new buildup of the same things above across the right-hand side of the V in regards to goes price makes its way up, proving fractal accumulation. The ICI itself usually happens within a faster MB. A faster MB. A faster MB. Sorry, a faster MB. Not loose. The setup is not super loose. It's somewhat defined. Doesn't have a huge range that the candle that buy stops you in comes from. There's not a huge range that the candle that buy stops you in comes from. Not too late in terms of the ICIs that have occurred before the flush out. Often 1 or 2 and further is too late. So usually I want to enter on the first and maybe the second ICI. This is like the first, maybe second ICI. When I take a trade, I want to enter on the first or second ICI. Like it's very early. Okay? It can't be extended from the 10 EMA, with minor exceptions that it's coming from a multi-MA accumulation. So it shouldn't be too extended, which it is, and I kind of pulled back into it. But if it is, like I'm buying it as it's coming up away from the MA, it's because it just came out of accumulation, which it did. But then again, as I said, all of these rules that I just kind of laid out is not going to be helpful in any way. A lot of you could hear what I just said and it wouldn't make any sense unless you go and do the fucking work, right? Which is why the images should come from you, right? So, I could explain this thing over and over again for any given trade, but the clean ICI comes from the fact that I've put together a number of things. It's not because there's a high and the high looks nice. That's not where an ICI comes from. It comes from the fact that I have a full understanding of what I want to see from this market, and it's been proving itself over and over again. So as a result of all the multiple things that I've used to determine whether or not this is a clear trade to take and why it might be clear to take, and then I do take it, it comes from all of those things together. So this is kind of the crazy thing that I try to explain, where it's like, it's not just, hey guys, for a clean ICI, you want the relative, you want the RSI to be under the 20, and then you just take the buy. Because that's not what forms anything good, right? And this is why often when there's a completely brand new member, it's very important that you realize that there isn't a one-stop shop for the best setup right now. It doesn't exist. There is a market context, a market condition, a delivery of the given market, and then putting that together across multiple timeframes, and then entering through what I would call a clean ICI. Is it the fact that I don't know why it's clean? No. I know it's clean because I've collected thousands of fucking images, and I've studied thousands of markets, and I know what I want to see in a market for me to actually take the trade, right? And it comes from a buildup of all the things outlined right here. There's a lot of clean things that make a clean ICI. So it's very important you recognize that. John says, so you sat out once a daily entered redistribution on NAS back in October of 2023. Back in October of 2023. Yeah, of course. It started a reaccumulation. It went, then it failed to reaccumulate, broke down, became distribution or redistribution, broke down. I stayed out of all this until around, I believe, here or higher. And then it began to be very clearly bullish again. Or if a lower time became accumulation, then maybe that too. But yeah, overall up until here, basically. And then past that, we started following it again. From what I remember. How did you plot the target high on the JPY for NAS? How did I plot where I want to see NAS go? By simply drawing two lines. Alt-H. And it comes from the understanding of how the stage 2s were delivering. And now that we're in stage 1, there's likelihood for stage 2. And stage 2 is on average deliver around this much space on a higher time frame. So it should deliver up into around these areas now, which makes it very bullish. So I should expect it to keep going, which is great. How come you took your Bitcoin USD trade in a 1 hour redistribution as John? Because I took it on a 65. I don't know what it was on a 60, but it was in accumulation at this time. And because of the context. So even without it being an accumulation, this was clearly bullish. But even then, what was the 1 hour? Oh, the 1 hour was an accumulation for me. Even better. Here's even more clearly accumulation because it broke down, broke up, broke down, broke up, broke down, and then broke up. That is the clearest sign of accumulation you could ever have. Multiple back and forth with the most recent break being bullish over all the MAs, over the prior set institutional longs. The only expectation is this either wants to keep going or pause and then keep going. And lo and behold, then I put in my ICI rules, or the fact that I want to see price make an ICI, set something up, and then go. And off we are. You could have even traded this one right here. No, probably this one right here, this high. But that wouldn't have kept you in the move, right? It starts to move, and then it comes back down, and then it goes. Yeah. So it wasn't in a redistribution. And even if it was, again, back to the old discussion, everything was already pointing towards the longs. Everything. Let's delete some of these brushes. There we are. Yep. Notice how FOMO should not be a thing. Nope, absolutely no reason to FOMO into anything. Markets will set up thousands of times and give you thousands of entries. And you can go back and see those entries that are available. It's great. Nope. Yeah, we had an expectation this week, and then the price failed down. And simply, you can see there's just nothing done. Just stayed out for those entire week. Started good, failed, and there's it. That's it. I thought it looked very clean here. I wanted to take this thing long. I thought it would accumulate and be very clean. Nope. Goodbye. And that's 5 days of sitting on the sidelines on gold. And now who knows? It could go sideways for another month. You know? But the move itself, bigger, all that 4 TBs down. I don't know what that means. And it's on the screener and the indicator. Does it have a specific amount of candles it looks at? If so, how many? No, it looks at a number of things. I'm actually right now working on some better ways of making it spot even clear whether it's accumulation or distribution. But that's the point of the screener. That's the whole goal of the screener. And yeah, just like Emilis Emka said here, screener allows you to see the complete picture, right? It allows you to break free of time frames. Exactly. The screener isn't to show you the time frames. The screener is to literally say, hey, here's everything, and here's what they're generally saying. So if you have green, red, green, 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 red, it should lead you to say, okay, there's likely accumulation, or this thing is being demanded, right? And this is actually what happened with gold. If you guys remember during gold, before, like while we were bullish on it, right here, when we were bullish right here, when we were bullish here, the daily said redistribution. Look down here. It's in redistribution. And then again, but every other one was showing a full-on green reading, and if we do the analysis, everything about this, no matter how you want to draw it, is pointing towards bullishness. It's starting to point towards bullishness. So we assume that this is now accumulation or reaccumulation, especially with the other time frames taken into account. Again, I don't get tunnel vision on one time frame. If you do, that's fine. But just be aware that that's going to create less opportunity, right? You miss this opportunity until here. Then it becomes accumulation, I think, right? Let's see. Nope, still redistribution. So you still have to ignore it. Now, again, in my book, this is never redistribution, ever. But if it is for you, you have to wait. You have to wait, and here it becomes accumulation finally. So at that point, you might start to watch it, which is fine. Because if that's your rule, then great. You can get into it later. And then you can get into it again, because now it's accumulation, reaccumulation. There you are. It delivers. And now it's still in reaccumulation. So if it wants to start, well, right now it looks like shit. But if it wants to start to build itself up again over the next few months, I mean, like, this is pretty ass right now. It's probably going to do one of these. Sorry. It's probably going to do one of these here. So, you know, you're probably going to have to wait like at least a month, unless this wants to just randomly take off. This probably is going to take a month here to go sideways a bit, maybe a week. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's probably going to go sideways for a bit, right? Like this. Again, same thing. Then it's going to come up, and then it's going to give us opportunities to keep trading this. And then I'll watch gold again. Right now, gold will go off my list. Done, right? But again, to kind of echo the thing earlier, the person that just started live trading and is like, gold is so clean, it's so bullish, everything's bullish, you're going to get caught in a lot of chop. This is how you get caught in chop. Because now, you know, you're looking for this action here, but that's not what this market is telling you now. This market is telling you it needs to absorb whatever happened here. Whatever bullishness came in, bearishness came in, it needs to absorb that move now, and then it might start to have money come in, and then you can trade it higher. But until then, you're probably going to get a longer-term stage one now, or even a short-term stage one, but it needs to happen. You might get a stage one like this, then a little stage two starts, then a little stage two begins, then another stage one, and again, that's where your entries are going to begin to have clarity. But until then, it won't be clean. And then you can even kind of confirm that. Check this out. You can even kind of confirm that right now by looking at gold. Actually, no, you can't. Some of the stuff is rolling over into red, right? What's it going? Yeah, some of the stuff is rolling into red, but still, it's very green. But the price action itself based on, things I kind of want to see, is telling you that it's likely going to do this for a little bit. So so actually, to answer the guy earlier that asked about chop, this is how I expect chop. This market is not in the environment right now where it just wants to deliver, deliver, deliver. It's actually in a market right now where it wants to kind of chop around for a bit, right? It wants to kind of maybe, go sideways for a bit. So if you're like, I mean, every other time just kind of confirming that, right? The 4 hour, it needs to now, it's in reaccumulation, but for it to become clear, it needs to get kind of up here, right? Over the MAs, start kind of sailing higher, let it go higher, but it's not doing that now. So a lot of us are going to have to wait, right? That's where this waiting game comes from. The hourly is probably going to do the same thing, right? It's in accumulation, but is it really? Yes, but it really needs to start coming back up over, right through the high, maybe make a blueprint, come up here. You can see how all the time frames are interacting with what price needs to do for it to become clear again for a move. So I know that the next week of gold is likely going to be chop. So anyone that trades it, right, likely, now again, I don't have a guarantee because I can't predict. I just got used to using the tools we have. I know that anyone that trades this is likely going to get chopped out and then go, what the fuck's going on? Well, you can ask yourself, is the market right now, when it's here, in this environment or in this environment, or is it in this environment? Is it 1, 2, or 3 right now? A lot of you should be able to look at it, or even this one. A lot of you should be able to look at it and say, yeah, we're likely in one of these environments, which means the next steps are sideways. The next steps are sideways for a bit, or even come up and then look for trades. The next steps are, because right now the market could even be in the beginning of, kind of find this. Look, 2 big down candles. Find 2 big down candles, right? Here they are. 2 big down candles. What does price do? Does it take off instantly and everyone missed the move and it's bullish? Or did it absorb all the randomness of the bullishness and the bearishness, absorb, then start a move and then give you entries to the top side? This is how markets move. You need to recognize when to give them time. The markets repeat the same cycle, but if you're forcing things nonstop, then yeah, you're going to get blown up because this thing is actually likely to do this or this right now. Right? I would never be buying gold right now. Right now, I'm waiting for reasons to buy gold. Here's my reason to buy gold, right? This is what I needed to do, but it's not done that yet. So very simply, I know how to walk away from this and say, yeah, this is going to be choppy as fuck, right? This is how a choppy market starts. Everything else that I've done before is proving that. Look what happened before. Look what happened. Price was choppy for how long? 16 days. This doesn't look like 16 days. If anybody backtested this, how much does it feel like? It feels like 5 minutes, 30 seconds of bad action. Back to good action. I waited during this whole time to trade, and I traded it here. This is where I started trading gold, and this is where I continued trading it. And then I continued to expect longs, and they failed. So now I know we've entered this condition. This condition. Does price from big candles like this or big failure down below instantly start moves higher, or does it go into chop? It goes into chop. Okay, so even with a little bit of work, I've learned that on average, when prices do this, they go into longer term chop on all the lower time frames before they start new accumulations. And again, that's a phenomenal new way to, it's a phenomenal way to understand how I personally, as a trader, whatever you want to call it, stay out of chop before I know the chop's going to happen. Because simply, price is below the MAs that I want to trade over. Price is under them as they're going down. It's not above them. Price is not showing me that it wants to do this or this. It's way down here. So why would I trade this action? And then a lot of other traders, like I said, will trade this and wonder, why am I always caught in chop? The screener told me it's long. Why am I caught in chop? Well, because you're trading into the potential start of a stage one, hoping that it randomly does this, right? So really think about it. If a lot of you right now are trading gold long, okay, this is what you want from the market. This is what's happening in your mind. In your mind, price action should do this next. Right? This is what you want to see out of price. That's what you want to see price do. Does that make more sense than Now, again, which one is more likely based on movements that you've seen before, right? Imagine you're a trader that expects this out of the move. Like, why? Why would it need to do that? Why would it start that? And if it did, do you think the likelihood is this, or do you think it's likelier to do this? So even if it does do this weird thing right now, you still understand how prices are on average going to move through stage 1s and 2s. So there's nothing to force here for a long. That's asking to get chopped out, right? You need to let the money show you that it's entered the market first. That's been my number one rule forever. Let the money prove itself to you, then trade it. Let the money prove itself, 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 get over the MAs, then trade it. Don't hope the money proves itself. Let the money prove itself, then try to trade it and get stopped out. Then wait for money to prove itself, which it doesn't, and let it fail down for a while. Let the money prove itself, go sideways, and then trade it. Right? The markets repeat the exact same move over and over and over again. Let them prove themselves and then go sideways. This should never be a time where you're like, fuck, I'm going to miss this move. Oh, God, it's going to happen. Like, imagine the kind of ego that you have to imagine that this is what the market wants to do. And then to start trading longs right here. That's wild of you, right? That's how you stay out of chop. Ethan says, I've noticed that when I take a trade in London session, it stays still for the next few hours until the New York news event. I have seen this multiple times in backtesting. I'm trying to find 15 minute. My question is, should I go break even before news hits or just let news hit? You should manage it in accordance with like what makes sense to you, right? Like it depends on how much in profit you are. It depends if you're still in drawdown or not. Moving to break even does not guarantee that you're going to get break even price, especially during a red news event. 15 minutes is a higher time frame, so it's okay to potentially hold. If you do hold, you want to take off your stop loss no matter what, because you want to let the spread widenings or whatever to hit, and then to manage your trade accordingly, right? And you can always close manually if it's a terrible time. Dan said, you got to look at the bigger picture. Even zooming out and seeing what the whole thing is doing from an institutional perspective is so important. Yep. Very, very true. You know, like structurally, this thing is, for all of you guys, this is bullish, right? It wants to move bullish. No matter how you want to swing it, this wants to go bullish. But we don't know when that bullishness is going to start. And if you just use structure, like a lot of people like to use, oh, structure's bullish, gotta go, you're going to get fucked on the normal delivery of price, which is, it needs to accumulate. It needs to absorb the prior move. It needs to create new moves. It needs to make new orders come in. It needs to create new blueprints. You need to wait for those things to happen, right? You need to let the market prove itself first, and then you can enter and trade it, right? Keep it, like, look at this, okay? Well, let's do a tiny mini interaction here. Actually, I'm not going to scroll down and chat. Actually, I can see the chats on my other computer. So actually, this does work. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, actually, don't even worry. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Look at where we are here on price, okay? Let's imagine I took a long here. Oh, there it is, whatever, sure. This would always lose, almost always. It's going to chop around, it's going to take you out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just remember what this looks like if I did take a long here. This is a daily chart. Okay, great. Now let's look at my actual trades. Remember where the daily is here. Remember where it is. Look at the MAs. Remember how they're sloping down. Look at the candles. Look where the MAs are. Just remember this. Keep it in mind. Everything's bullish. Structure is bullish. But this looks like this. Now let's look at the trades I took. Does this trade look anything similar to where it is to that gold daily? And if not, what differences do you see? Now, this is where the answers should include price went sideways, then broke above all the MAs. Price is above the rising MAs. Price has proven itself first. Price is stage 1 and started new stage 2s. Price is over all this nonsense. Good job. NVIDIA. Does the trade here look anything like the current price of gold? in terms of where you could have entered it? Nope, because that would be the equivalent of trying to enter along where? Here, 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 and here. Where did instead I trade? Price proved itself multiple times, is above all the rising MAs, resting on the rising MAs, and then I took my entry. So already, just with a tiny bit of work, anyone that's analyzing in our team here should be able to look at this and say, it is nowhere near ready for me to look at a lower time frame or an entry time frame or any time frame for a long. Because for it to be clear, at least based on the person that I look up to or the person that I'm here with or the other members that are trading, almost every trade comes from a bullish context. Comes from this kind of context. Every trade that they're taking comes from a bullish context. Every trade that he's taking, I don't know where it is, whatever, comes from cocoa beans, a bullish context. Every trade that he might look to take wasn't here, but is here. Bullish context. Is coffee now? Look at what coffee's doing. Is coffee now in a good spot for longs? It's in a phenomenal spot. The likelihood of this thing now is the stage 2 delivery up into, once again, 228, whatever, right, upwards. It wants to go higher. Look at where it is. Imagine you start buying gold right now. You know what that's equivalent to? It's buying gold here. It's buying coffee there. That's what gold looks like right now. It's buying coffee here. 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 And then price proves itself, gives you lower time frame entries that go. Proves itself, gives you lower time frame entries that are likely to go. Right? So if you start trading this kind of shit, of course you're going to get chopped out. Because you haven't spent any bit of time understanding what do prices deliver like. The only work you've done is saying, yep, structure's there, let me take it. Right? Yep, it's above a 200 MA. Good to go. No, there are multiple elements that make up a good trade. There are multiple elements that create a clean ICI. And it's not just the pattern, right? It's every step that you take before you even look for the pattern, right? It's every step you take before looking at the left to right, looking at the models, looking at the market itself, looking at the MAs and the way it's moving with the MAs, looking at the stages to decide if it's a clear trade to even take. So then when someone like comes to me and they're like, listen, I went down to my 1 minute and I tried to trade the long here, and it just keeps failing off of the ICIs that are super clean. I look at them and I say, who cares that these ICIs are clean? Look where you are in this market. Look where you are in this market. Look where you are in this market, right? Now, those exact same setups that we just saw there, repeated here or here or here or here, are going to make you infinitely more money ever than trading in a style like this would. So why not focus on the times where money is going to be made almost regardless of how you throw the entry? That's what you want to develop. You want to develop sit-out time. You want to develop patience. That's the only thing that's going to make you profitable. So this is a great example of how do I expect chop? There it is. This is what I expect in choppy markets. This is what market is going to go into chop now, or back and forth, or sideways, or melt down, just like coffee did. This is where gold is likely right now. It might be here. And if it's here, let it prove itself first. Then trade here. So even if you're a crazy 1 minute trader within a daily context, but then you at least trade within this context here, almost any setup that you end up taking within the accumulation, maybe take this one, or this one, or this one, right? You might take some losses, some break evens, but throwing it eventually will give you that move. Put all the characteristics of the market in your favor. Don't focus initially on the pattern. This pattern, the fact that you saw an ICI here, or, oh my God, there's an ICI. The fact you see this does not matter. Anyone can highlight a high and say, I'm going to buy it. The first step started understanding where are the areas that create potential moves, right? And then Once you have that down, what actual characteristics of a setup, what actual kind of buy stop can create an opportunity where I can get in, get out maybe quickly, or get in and have a big runner? Then you become unstoppable. Then everything becomes kind of a joke. You better start. Oh, you're already doing it live, aren't you? Yeah, that's really good. Mete says, I have talked to another real life bro into joining by the end of this month. He's very excited. I already told him there's no better time to be joining this group. I think you're correct. You're correct about that. Not once in the past has there been so much value in this community. I love you, buddy. I love you. So much development has been made, and the new section you were talking about will clear so much. It will. So everyone who's new, you have a great fucking timing. You do. I agree. And I think each one of these webinars, even if they feel a little bit loaded, are in themselves their own course, kind of. Is the way I kind of want you to think about it, right? Like, I hope anyone that's new here today, you can say that you are new if you feel like it. I think I'm going to make the guess that you've probably received more value or more education or more understanding about a market than you probably ever have in probably hours of other courses or YouTube videos. I hope, right? Because you're seeing firsthand, how this is kind of done live, how expectations are made about a new week live, how expectations are made about a new week on something that's clear. On something that's clear live, you're seeing firsthand how something that's taken just the week before or sent out to be taken and why it was taken is now likely to deliver or why it could deliver. Right? You're kind of getting everything sprinkled right in your first time being here, which I hope is showcasing to you, like what you're working towards. Tev Z says, I do find it funny how they always have the fundamentals that follow. You can't tell me this thing is simulation. Well, dude, of course things will go up on good fundamentals or whatever you want to call it, but you need to understand how to read the action to understand that a good fundamental report would result in a continuation. That's where it comes from. Mohammed says, where is the ICI exactly? I see it buys up the real MB itself. That's it. That's the ICI. Buy something this MB is the ICI. It's a buy stop of an MB. That's what an ICI is. I just gave it a different name because it's an entry, but you can call it a buy stop of an MB. Since you're at break even and partial, did you take another setup around Bitcoin is right now if it sets up? Yes. Yep. So this week, if this sets up, I will 100% take another entry on this. Yep. Very much so. Yep. It'll probably repeat one of these. Hopefully it comes up a bit, finds itself sideways just a tiny bit, and then, yep, same thing. And I'll try to get in again, for sure. If I can get in again, I will 100% get in again. Merlin, I compare stage 1 and 2 with Elliott wave count. I wouldn't do that. It's way too much work. Yeah, I think that's overcomplicating it for no reason. Jaden says, man, isn't that trader 1, or is it early enough to stay in the move? Again, the point of that was an analogy, was an example, like an anecdote of how you should start thinking about patience, right? So it's not necessarily either one. Sometimes the stage 1s happen very quickly, and if we go higher, it looks a little overextended in the moment. Yeah, Mike. This is a great lesson right now with regards to emotional attachment to losses. Yep. Do you put your SL on the MA? No, I usually just look at this little number right here. So I'll show you this trade, right? So when I took this, you can see in the bottom right, this number, which is accessible right here. Okay. That number says 0.72. I usually want my stop to be just over that. Okay, so when I took this, you can see it's at 0.82. So I usually like it to be just a little bit over that to give it real space to potentially, make a move. But yeah, sometimes based on the setup, you could even protect it at the MA as long as it's under 2 times this, which is 1.4. So this would be too big. I would never take a trade like this. That's way too big for me because it doesn't provide enough RR on the top side. But this was clear for me, and I just put it at below this thing. So Anton, based on your drawing, already went over that, I think. Yeah. In the past weeks, I really tried to force the stage 2 and lost very often. Yeah, that can happen. You thought about? Did you think about the management on a higher time frame? Yes, I have. I've thought about doing versions of that too. Yep. So it says, I don't like the partial. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? If you're profitable without it, then it's a good thing. My back test showed great results. When the live trading, I found myself getting desperate. Yep, exactly what I just spoke about, right? You need to actualize your results. So a lot of the stuff you have to do now is you need to trade on an account that you don't care as much about, but very much view yourself and judge yourself on your ability to not follow the rules. So if you can't follow your rules at a 10 out of 10 level while trading basically a small account that you don't care about, there is zero chance you're going to be able to trade well at a maybe even an 8 out of 10 on a live account, right? So if you can't contain your emotions or be disciplined or be patient enough to wait for your setups or wait through chop or wait through not clear environment in a demo environment or a forward test environment or a small account you don't care about, then there's no shot you're going to be able to do it in a live. So that's why if you are live trading, right, that should be a big focus, is not looking at the earnings like, oh, wow, I made like, oh, I only have $100 account and I've only made $10 on it in the last month. Fuck, I hate my life. It's only $10, doesn't matter. It should be, hey, on this $100 account that I've been forward testing on, every trade I've taken has been a 10 out of 10 in regards to my rules. And as a result, I've made positive EV. So now if this account is a $1 million account, I'm making money. If it's a $2 million account, I'm making a fuck ton of money, right? Et cetera. And then all of a sudden, you're judging yourself on your ability to follow rules. You're learning to follow rules through the actions you're taking. And then when you go live, that's the one thing that's embedded in your mind now. Because you know that if you don't follow your rules, that's where you should be punishing yourself, not over the money made or lost or the miniature money that's made or lost, right? Alphonse says, so I have a question. When a market is perfect to follow, great context and all, okay, sure. So let's imagine something like GBTC or NVIDIA, sure, GBTC, Bitcoin. So great context, everything's great, very good to follow. Sometimes the entry timeframes will go from clean price action to like 50-50 clean or choppy, but I can't determine which it is. Well, how are you determining that it's 50-50 choppy if you can't determine what it is? That means to me that at some point it is choppy to you. So during that time, don't trade, is the answer there, right? But you say, sometimes I take a trade and it chops me out. Okay, that's fine, that can happen. After which I see the PA is choppy, but sometimes it delivers, but I stayed out due to thinking it's getting choppy. Okay, yeah, you can take an entry and it can go choppy, and then it can get clean again. Like if I took an entry this week here, and I got in, and then I took it, and then it got choppy, then I wouldn't take a trade because it got very choppy. Or if it just kind of chopped me out, but then it maybe fails back down, builds something up, and then it becomes clean again, then I'll take the trade here because it's no longer choppy. I mean, that's it for me. I don't trade chop if it starts. If I take an entry and it's not choppy and it becomes choppy, great. Took a loss and now I can stay out. If it is choppy, I don't take the trade because I don't need to. Right? I mean, that's really it to it. I'm not 100% sure what that question is implying or asking. Would the transition from backtest to live trading subject be a good longer form video? It's so important. I basically gave you everything you need. There's no reason to complicate it, right? The only difference is the time element is going to be different now. That's it. So it's time to actually recognize and feel that time element. Notice how that time element works with your schedule. Understand what your schedule and process of living with the trading system that you have is going to look like, right? Gain confidence through doing that with a small account or a small funded account. Scale up. That's it. That's your whole video. There's no reason to complicate it and be here like, well, the first thing is you must start to eat good food, and then you must work out at 4 a.m. if you want to really be disciplined. Like, there's no point. You have the rules. That's it. You gain the confidence through doing it with a smaller account you don't give a fuck about. You rate yourself based on the fact that you're following rules. You follow those rules on a live, and you scale that up. This has definitely been the situation once I went live. Yep. Quickening says 100% agreed with this. I've made money and then lost it all because I can't fast forward ship price action. They keep getting into unclear price action. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, man. Could you show the screener again, please? Again, like this screener right here is not, it's not updated. This is like data from about 2 weeks ago or like a week ago, and we're gonna add a few other like filters and stuff to it. But yeah, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be very nice. You guys are gonna love it. At least I already love it. So I'm assuming you guys will love it. Got to go, guys. We'll catch up later. I'll see you, brother. I'll see you. Anton, are you using regular hours? Yes, I am. I've noticed that when I take a trade in London session and stay still for the next, what is your take on entering on a slightly different time frame? For example, entry time frame is 15, but there's a perfect IC on the 1 minute according to your rules. It'd be all right to follow your rules, buddy. If you can't be profitable on one time frame, then you're just going to complicate the process with multiple. Same rule as always. Tom says, it's me. On your backtesting videos, vid's context is clear, validation is clear, but you say ICI isn't clean. We'll try to find time and then another ICI soon after you take. Yeah, it might have been to do with the MAs, or how the MAs looked at the time of the entry, or the fact that I didn't see price go sideways long enough. If I'm taking a certain kind of entry, right? Like I didn't take this ICI. Why? Because it was too quick. It's not the type I'm usually used to, but it was valid. So I waited, and the ICI cleared up to the point that I like to the point that I like to see. I like to see it usually catch up a little bit more with the MA, and then I'll take it. In this case, that's why. The perfect ICI doesn't exist as one thing you can find. It's about the good context. The good context makes the perfect ICI. Exactly. Need to go. Take care, guys. I'll see you if you spot. Thanks for being here, man. Is it possible to trade stocks with men funding? No, it's not. Hey, Anton, are you still using S&D in your trading system? Kind of yes and no. S&D in form of like looking for price to come back to zones like this? Nope, not at all. Don't care for that one bit. S&D in terms of MBs are creating demand zones, MBs are creating demand zones, and the demand zone should start to validate and keep going higher? Yes, but not looking for them to bounce. S&Ds in terms of S&Ds or MBs build up models, and they make the models that are at hand because they are a game of supply and demand? Yes. S&Ds in terms of I want to see price come back to zones? No, not at all. Do we want gold to look more like Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin also not quite ready? Yep, we do. Gold is ugly, absolutely terrible. I would never trade this thing in a million years for now. Bitcoin is perfect. Bitcoin has literally done the thing that you want to see it do. It's now actually in a stage 1. It actually wants to move to stage 2. Bitcoin, by the end of, again, this week or next, based on how it's moving right now, wants to move to new all-time highs. Bitcoin, based on how it's moving now, based on where it is now, wants to move to new all-time highs. So all I can do is trade it, because that's what it wants to do. There's nothing else for me to do on this thing. Ignore that. That was for a one-on-one we had, but that's all good. Olay says, oh, I actually found that in my testing, a big straight down move needs a new stage 1 before being good. Exactly. Right, and you got that just from testing. There you are. This thing needs a stage 1. That's it. It's as simple as that. This thing needs to go sideways or break down further and then go sideways and start a new move higher over time, or start a new move higher where I'll get involved over time. And if I'm trading this, I'm only trading this thing when it sets up in these areas, maybe in these areas, maybe in these areas. Other than that, everything else is useless to me. So no matter how this wants to move now, no matter how it wants to move, there will be nothing for me to do until price begins to show and prove that it wants to go higher. That's it. I will allow the price action to line up with the screener, and once everything is in synergy, the game is going to be played with ease. setups that I'm going to take are going to deliver, or they're going to fail, and I'm going to walk away. That's it. Such a good webinar, on par with 100. Hey, I appreciate you, Tom. Thank you, man. Bro just gave everyone a simple way to avoid chop, and yet some will still force entries. It will happen, but that's okay. That's how we learn, right? Getting saucier and saucier, thank you. Can honestly be added to context clues. I probably will add this to context clues. Jordan says, a terrible ICI in a really good context will beat a perfect ICI in a bad context. And that is 100% true. That is why, to the guy that is hopefully watching this, to the guy that asked this thing right here about yesterday, like today and joined 2 days ago, that is why this is such a hard question. There is no perfect ICI, because if you find a perfect ICI within gold right now to the long side, you are going to lose money no matter what over the long run. If you find only bad ICIs, but you at least understand the context that determines a clean market, like trading here and then taking the ICI maybe right there, even if it's the most terrible ICI, over the long run, you're likely going to tilt the RRs in your favor and make money. That's how beautiful it is to understand context and not to study the perfect entry, because there is no perfect entry. There just isn't. What's up, Sorrel? Good to have you back, buddy. The current webinars are a true course. I agree. I fully agree with that. Can you check out Coinbase? I think it's ready to take off. Well, if Bitcoin is about to take off and Coinbase is to do entirely with the crypto market, I'm going to assume that they're going to likely move together. But here's something interesting, right? While Coin is just maybe setting up, GBTC, which would be the equivalent of Coin, is like already kind of taken off, right? So by that metric, GBTC is stronger than Coin. And since they're in the same kind of area, I'd probably just trade GBTC or Bitcoin over Coin, right? But yes, this thing can make moves. It's proven to make moves. It's been in this stage one long term, and it's finally proven itself by coming out of this, being on top of the MAs and kind of going sideways. So yeah, it's likely to make a move, but I'd probably just trade Bitcoin, because like, what's the point of trading this when Bitcoin's already proving itself, right? Yep, it just came out of this nonsense. And I wouldn't trade this at the end of the day. But yeah, if it can ICI, then there could be a setup here. But then again, I wouldn't trade this because there's already something that's a lot cleaner than it, right? So that's where I take the thing that's cleaner, for sure, because there's no point for me to trade the thing that's not cleaner. Right, in the last few, it's made a very nice up move, came down a bit, ready to make another move, almost like a perfect sailing, and then Coin, a very rough up move, came down kind of rough, and now it might go higher, but like, you can almost see it. How will this go higher? It might do it like in a very probably choppy way if it did, right? Because it's proven to be kind of ugly, kind of choppy. This move here has been very kind of ugly in the way it's come out. And then compare that same move to something in the same area. Cleanly comes out of it. Cleanly moves higher. Comes down super nicely, catches the MA, and now it's just like, you can almost foresee that if this does deliver, how's it going to deliver? Right? You can see that it wants to just make that nice move. That's chop. That's something I'll stay out of. So yeah, for the guy that said something about Coin, maybe, but I'm just going to trade the thing that's in the same exact location as Coin, but is much cleaner, right? Much, much cleaner by a landslide, right? Look how this came out of this area, right? It came up on May 6th, went sideways for the MB, and then just took off over. Let's look at the same thing. May 6th was here. Since May 6th, this fell off instead of went off and went sideways for a bit. Then it like chopped in here, and then it took off randomly, kind of maybe over this, started going sideways, failed to make a stage 2, went into a deeper stage 1. Like, what about this, as you look at it, signifies or tells you that I am cleaner than GBTC, I want to go higher, I'm ready to go? Nothing. Everything about this here tells me I want to chop around, I want to move in a really shitty kind of way, and even if I deliver, I might take you out before I do. I'd rather follow this, right? Can you look at JPM? Yeah, it's very bullish. It looks bullish. Kind of whatever delivery. Starts a nice one here. Huge flush out. In the middle of a longer term stage 1 right now. Kind of ugly action here. So again, like right now, I'll just expect this to sideways a bit. This probably needs to go sideways. Let the MAs kind of absorb whatever fucking move happened here, and then it might pop above, and then you can maybe look for trades here on the lower time frame. Until then, I would ignore this though. This is quite ugly. It's not even over this like little MB area here. It didn't build up anything here that there's no clear fractal in here that it started to take out. So to me, this just looks like it wants to chop right now. I would not look for a lower time frame entry on this. Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing here right now. Anytime. Same thing as gold. It needs a little bit of time. Stage 1. And again, like, during a time where the entire market is doing what? Taking off higher through all-time highs, JP Morgan is back down here right now. And as this kind of, holds its MAs, JP Morgan, I mean, it's not terrible. It is holding the MAs too, so it could make a move, but I would give it time to accumulate. What would be better, is if right now, if NAS, for whatever reason, starts going down. If it goes down like this. If NAS does this, and JP Morgan stays here like this, and then makes this move, while US 100 does this, then this would be phenomenal. But until then, this is just another boring stock that's not doing anything. Right? That's it. So there's not much for me to touch here. Because the direct stock market itself is stronger. So why do I care? Right? This is at all-time highs, came down, just caught the 10. Right? If this starts to fail down, but JP stays here, that tells me that new buying is continuously entering this market, right? And then if it does make that like stage 1 or stage 2 up to the stage 1, this entry in here will be a phenomenal one. And that's what's going to start a move higher. That's going to explode. Otherwise, there's nothing here. There's no reason to force anything there. Would this be a good representation of a market that is not ready yet? Silver. I mean, it's down. I mean, what are you looking at? Are you looking to enter the 65-minute? There could be a setup here, right? Like, there could be a setup out of the accumulation here, or you could take one off of the ICI here. But it depends on what it's doing across time frames. I think we were saying that it's clean, right? I was saying that it's clean at least. And then it failed down just like gold. I'm assuming it's the same thing as gold right now. Yeah, there's nothing here right now. It's just sideways. It needs to accumulate. It needs to go into a stage 1, then into a stage 2, and then go sideways, and this is where you'll look for your entries. Same thing here. It's like, if anything, gold's weaker right now. You're just on the waiting train right now. Silver's definitely stronger, right? You can see where silver is. And if this can start to move, then it's going to be beautiful, right? So if these can start accumulating, there's going to be great setups out of them. But you need to let this thing, again, take off, kind of like what you drew, literally. Yeah, you need to let this thing take off, maybe even, take off, break back down over whatever low, and then maybe break up for an accumulation, right? And then set up moves, right? Or fail down, then whatever, set up, and then make you a move here or here, and then take off. But until then, there's nothing to do. This is a waiting game. Same thing as gold. Literally same thing. And gold's weaker, right? You can look at it like this, right? Gold makes it to all-time new highs and fails all the way back down. And then silver makes its way through the highs, pushes higher, doesn't fail all the way back down and catches here. So if gold is going to set up, silver's going to make an insane move. It's going to be beautiful. And that's what I'll likely be in. I'll actually add this as a watcher for now. Yeah. I'm new here, been around the forex market for years. Nobody breaks it down like this, and I've followed many. Boom! Let's go, man. That's amazing to hear. What does ATR stand for? It's the average true range. Did the Smurf watch go up in value? I assume. How many past candles does the ATR use in its calculation? I think 14. How's the new revamped course coming? Very well. A lot of work going into it. It is not easy to take 12 years, 13 years, 15 years, whatever, however long I've spent now in the markets and dilute them into the most best recent stuff that we're using right now and just boom, here it is, right? But it's going very well. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Yvonne says, by the way, Anton, you told me this last time. I begin forward testing and understand what you said regarding waiting for markets, more forcing stuff, which sometimes I found myself doing a lot. For how long would you say I have to forward test? You will likely know. I would say minimum, you want to forward test for 3 months. After 3 months forward testing, you'll be able to look at your own results, at your own trading, at your own ability to stay out of markets, and you can even do a back test on the weeks that you traded, or the months, the 3 months you traded. And then you can look and compare and be like, okay, did I trade this as I normally would have if I was a back testing and just had access to just playing this market forward, right? That's kind of where you want to start. Vasant says, does this screener have only U.S. stocks or any other country stocks? Right now, it's probably going to have only U.S. stocks, currencies, maybe some cryptos. I don't remember. I think cryptos. And we would probably add other country stocks later, but the U.S. stock market's the biggest by a landslide. So that's the markets I care about. I don't really care about other markets. Any chance of order? Okay, we're not organizing poker. What personal brokerage do you use? Right now, I use Charles Schwab, which is Thinkorswim, basically. But John says, why do you think coin failed to make a move? Isn't this just stage one? It didn't fail to make a move. It failed to show the same kind of strength and clarity that Bitcoin did. And Coinbase, again, you can do a search of this. What is Coinbase? It is an American company that operates a cryptocurrency exchange. So basically, something to do with cryptocurrency should, on average, show the same strength, if not more strength, than the actual crypto, right? Because if crypto is doing very well, theoretically, people are trading their crypto and using their crypto and buying crypto through Coinbase. And if they're doing that, Coinbase should go up. But if Coinbase is showing less strength than the thing that it literally uses, then that's telling you that this market isn't as strong. So if crypto goes sideways, Coinbase might go down. If crypto goes up a lot, this might go up a bit, right? Versus if this was up here, going sideways, right? Then you have a condition where if the crypto market goes down, this might even go sideways for a bit. And if the crypto market goes up, this might take off to all-time new highs in a much faster way. So again, that's just relativity between the same markets. What do you think about all the XXX JPYs? I think they're all stuck in a range still, and I don't like that. What's the 5 hour, 4 hour? Yeah, I just think it's all stuck in a range. I hate trading this action. Usually this kind of action of like this huge back and forth, longer term range, kind of not even making clear, bigger moves that are then surfing. All this leads to usually like, all of this usually leads to just moves like this. Like some stupid shit. Right now I'm ignoring them. Like I just don't see how I can trade this. I hate this kind of action. When it gets all crazy, like this was from a Reddit news event, I think. And when it gets all crazy and then this starts happening, it just almost never pans out to something clear, right? Almost never. Maybe it will. Who knows? But almost never does it. If anything, what I want to see on this thing is literally like a flush out, right? Sideways, stage one, into a clean move higher with clear money coming in. Not this nonsense like, I don't know what I want to do, but clear money enters and then sideways on one of the rising averages like this. That's where I'll look for trades in the same range. But right now, this thing is telling me like, what it's telling me is the buyers that are stepping into this market don't know that they want to hold, are scared to potentially hold, are not stepping in a large way. So any form of selling that does come in, which it might, will lead to huge flush outs. That's it, right? Because the market is not clear, right? Versus compare like the move here, right? Clear stepping in, and as it goes sideways, it doesn't go lower because money has clearly stepped in, and then it takes off. That's not what this is showing me. This is not showing me that clear money is entering this thing and then sideways is going to take off. It's just showing me that any selling is going to completely flush this market out. So on this, I'd probably say it needs like, I don't know, a month, maybe a week or two, because it wants to flush out. I think it's going to flush out. And then there might be trades later on here, and then we can go and clear new highs or whatever. Yeah, this thing is just not ready. I don't like it. It looks like it just wants to fail down. 4 hours, like probably, yeah, it's just stuck in this huge range. It's not showing that money's coming in. If anything, the only money that's come in has been like to the downside. It's been so weak on the upside. And like it barely moves higher and it wicks as it moves higher. No, this is telling me that I don't want to do anything yet. So again, this is an example where the UJ reading on the screener is probably going to stay bullish, right? And a little bit of bearishness, but the price action might stay choppy for the next like 2 months. And that's why I just ignore it until the price does something like this. I want money to be behind it. I want money to prove itself. I have no reason to trade this thing when money is like uncertain of its own move, right? And then again, you can compare this move to prior moves that did work. Look at the prior kind of money that came in. Look at the prior action that came in for new moves to continue. Look at, even when it did have a big flush out, look at the moves that came in. Look at the moves that came in. Compare any of these, right? Like do the play-by-play booklet. Here it goes. Is there similarity between prior bullishness and current bullishness for what the markets do for when markets want to go higher? The answer is no. These are clearly disproportional in terms of how they're moving. So I'm not interested in this weakness. I want to see strength. If this was happening, I'd be taking this thing long. If this was happening, I'd be looking to take this thing long because it's powerful on the upside, right? And then it continues. Right now it's choppy. I would not be following these. And again, how do I determine market's going to be choppy? Also, look at the MAs. What the fuck are these? Why are they making like, what is this? What is this? What is that? That shows me that there is inconsistency in terms of the averages, which is how is money entering this thing? Is it being bought up in such a clear way that just every time it touches, every time it hits an average, just boom, just smooths itself. Compare it. Comes down, smooths itself out to the top. A little bit of chop here, though. Okay, that can happen, though. But like, even compared to this chop to this is just wild in my book. I don't know. I don't see it. I wait. This is the market I wait in. I need to wait for this. And then let this happen here. This is what I want to see. This is where I'll trade it. That's what I want to see right here. And that's what I'll be waiting for. Would you long Ethereum on a minute 5 or minute 30? If it sets up, sure. Yeah, I mean, this thing is great. This thing's very bullish. It might have a little bit of short-term stage one, but yeah, this thing looks like it wants to go right now. What do you got here? Let's see. Yeah, this thing, you should have been watching this thing around here. This thing was good here for a lower time frame, for sure. Now you need a little bit of sideways, I'd say, just a little bit more. And yeah, this looks good. The trades were back here, though, for sure. Maybe even this. This was phenomenal. These, if you trade, yeah, these were phenomenal. But if you're looking at the actual thing, which is the, I have this here as well, GBT, whatever, I'll put up here. If you're looking at the actual stock of it, which was what I would be trading, yeah, I would give it a little bit of sideways now. Let's see. Very nice sideways, but it looks like it just started taking off again, right? So this either now goes into crazy up move now, or it goes into deeper sideways, right? So we're just a little bit late to the party. Yeah, this was a phenomenal trade. This is like what I would want to take. I was trading this, but that's okay. I missed that. This is a little bit late. I would look for a flush out. I'd wait for flush out, and then you can trade it here on lower time frames. If you're trading 5 minute, maybe you took it here off of the 65 or 60 minute 1 hour going sideways, right? Off of the EMAs, which is nice. You could have traded it inside of there. For a better move, I would wait for the flush out first now. But yeah, could make a nice move. Not so bad. I would not trade it up here though. Even though this might work, you can see there's a buy stop, it held a low. Even though this could work, I would not trade it up here. But if you did, this is like the last point that you want to trade it. Yeah, Ethereum looks fine, just like Bitcoin. It's fine. Looks good. One trade there, maybe. Thanks for all the sauce. About to go see the trees. MicroStrategy looks good. Also correlating. Yeah, so MicroStrategy is another MSTR, right? Yeah, this one's another one that moves with Bitcoin, right? So okay, perfect. So the person that asked earlier, compare this to Coinbase. Which one is clearly dominating? This is so much cleaner. This looks like Bitcoin, right? This is a good stock to trade, right? That's stage 1, 2, stage 1, the clear 2. Now stage 1, yeah, this wants to go. This wants to trade. If Bitcoin goes higher, this will take off with Bitcoin, 100%. I'm going to put this on my list. Thank you. Okay. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Right, it literally looks like crypto, like Bitcoin. It literally looks like it. Held the same like ICI here. Look, this is the one I traded. Held that ICI. It actually set up an ICI here, so I actually missed this. But if you traded this, I'll do it on the 1 hour for all you guys like 1 hour. Oh, you can see the 1 hour doesn't look like that inside this. Yeah, if any of you traded it, perfection. Now, right? This is in good hands. Like it'll take off at the beginning of the week, maybe sideways a bit, and then another setup that might run, and then either fail down or continue its run, which is phenomenal. Yeah, perfect. The guy that just said this, Karsten, you are in a really good boat for spotting that. I fully agree. Showing the same relative strength, moving kind of in tandem with Bitcoin, moving much stronger than Coinbase or other crypto-related names. Phenomenal. And better yet, look at this. If you entered this thing on this ICI, right, which was the first kind of setup out of this nonsense, it never came back. And look at Bitcoin. I think it did come back. Yeah, Bitcoin did come back. You see that? So if anything, at the time, this was showing even more strength, right? This is powerful. So what this says is that even if Bitcoin goes down, this could go sideways. So if you got in this and Bitcoin goes all the way back down a little bit and then starts a new up move, this might even go sideways like this and then start an up move. And that's the kind of markets you want to be in. So yes, very good eye, very good spot, phenomenal. That's what you want to look for. And you're right, much almost in line. Look at this. This made that move out, made that MB break, made a high, came down a bit. This thing, right, made that breakout, made a very clear breakout. Like, it just, like, this thing wants to go, right? It just wants to go, or just wants to go. Yeah, very good high. Stayed below the MAs, popped over, and just took off, right? Even Bitcoin couldn't take off like this, right? When Bitcoin popped over, I don't think it instantly took off, right? I think it went down. Oh no, it also popped over and stayed sideways and then took off. Yeah, very good eye. This looks really good. You very good spot. And then I can also like do this really quick for you to show you. Hold on. Never mind, I can't. It's fine, whatever. Thank you again for another great webinar. No problem, Angie. We're like 2 hours, 2.5 hours in. Jesus. There's still 100 people here. Wow. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up in a second, guys. You said UJ looked good this week, right? What changed your mind? I don't like it. It's just not good right now. I don't know. This is just everything that I just said is why I don't like it right now. I think zero JPY or all JPY I said looked clearer, which it is. Right, this thing just keeps kind of pushing higher and grinding higher, which is good. But since all the XXX JPYs are looking kind of weak, that's a little bit of a problem. And this is yeah. I mean, honestly, if you traded this thing during this week, then that's fine. I'm not against it. A lot of wickiness, but it can happen. 60 minutes. Yeah, I mean, Euro JPY does not look terrible. Off of much lower time frames if you're trading them. So like if you're trading a 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 minute, yeah, this should sustain nice little moves higher. And it's much stronger than UJ, which is a really good sign, right? UJ is just kind of weak. Oh, JPY or Euro JPY or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not used to conditions that do this kind of thing. It's kind of choppy. I'd probably wait for a flush out. Same thing as UJ. I would let UJ. So what's likely going to happen is UJ will flush out. AJ will flush out to like the 20, right? Or like this. And then it should sort of a really nice move here. So very similar to UJ. It's just, it doesn't, I feel like it's just too extended here. Because it created like, it came out of this an ICI, maybe an ICI now, like an MB. So that's why lower time frame, you can definitely get a setup on this, for sure. But even this initial move, like very ugly initial move. This move's a little cleaner, and that's most recent, so that's good. So yeah, you could start of the week, maybe see a little something here for sure. But this initial institutional move is super, super ugly. I really dislike that, right? The way I kind of think about it is if I go to like NVIDIA. Well, actually, it's a hard one. So I'm trying to get a point across here. It might be a little hard, but give me a sec. Yeah, it's not terrible. I could see this occurring. That could be a decent trade on a much lower time frame. 5 minute, 1 minute, maybe. I mean, you lower time frame traders can easily take this thing higher, but then you're looking at maybe a larger spread because it's I think it's exotic, right? So it's a hard one. Yeah, I'm not against it. If you were looking for this, then I'd be like, okay, it's fine. But on a higher, I'm looking for a flush out on this thing. Netflix. Yeah, it could deliver. This came kind of abrupt, right? This just kind of came out of nowhere, made it the MB. Yeah, I mean, it is making the stage 1, though. Yeah, this could go. This could definitely go. You have earnings in a while, so that's really good. The initial move was very, very clean. Paused with the market, took off with the market, sideways a bit, took off with the market. Yeah, it's pretty strong, to be honest. On the day where it just goes down big time, not NVIDIA, sorry, Netflix, right? This doesn't really go down too much. That's a really good sign. Yeah, this thing can definitely set up. Yeah, honestly, like this looks good. Not even gonna lie. This looks like a solid trade. 4.86, probably something like this. Yeah, this looks solid. It's not bad at all. I like it. Let me take a look at something here. Looks like the screen reading on this like accumulation. The screen reading here is not always going to be the same because we use a few other things, but just looking through it. Yeah, I mean, it's going to read pretty accumulation. A bit of chop here, but very clean moves. Very clean moves. Falls down. I don't like that it didn't base for a little bit longer here. I usually like it to base. So you have one of two opportunities. So like this is good. I like this setup. But almost a better setup is if start of the week this falls down, kind of goes sideways a bit, and then there's either a setup through this accumulation or through this ICI, like here. This should be a really nice setup. So one of these should be really good on this if we're going to keep seeing upside. I like it. Good spot, not bad. You said UJ looked good this week? Okay, can you say your GPI? I think it's better than UJ. It is. GJ is a lot cleaner. Yeah, probably like the other XXX JPY is for sure. Yeah, so this is like again same thing. I think this is extended now, if anything. Oh, maybe not. What's the like lower time frame saying? Yeah, yeah. This could go as well for sure. Again, you get these like random wicks, and then you get this move. Yeah, on a lower time frame, same thing. This could go in that accumulation. Accumulates, falls down. Yeah, I mean, I'll wait for one of the main sessions, so probably London. But come London, like just probably start off down, maybe even fall down again, and then take off London, New York, off we go. Yeah, could make a move on a lower time frame for sure. I wouldn't follow it on a higher though. Not my cup of tea on the hires. A little bit hard to trade, in my opinion. ZW. Wheat. Yeah, in accumulation, moving higher through the MBs, making stage ones and twos. I mean, yeah, it's bullish, but do you want to trade this? Let's see. Yeah, that's honestly not bad. It's a good spot. It says redistribution, but same thing as gold. Very clear accumulation. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. Same kind of thing. Probably see it start of the week trade up over this. Sideways ICI, probably. Looks good. Could definitely make a move. Let's see the overall, like, what will the screen rating say on this thing? Yeah, it's like in an accumulation, moving higher, it can definitely go. Weekly is in kind of bearish redistribution. Monthly is an accumulation. Just got overall this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this could make a move. This looks good. Accumulation. Clean initial move. Yeah, not bad. This could go, man. Good eye. XPD USD. Yeah, you should go lose some more money. What are you bearish on this? Looks bearish, wouldn't trade it. Bearish but ugly, ignore. ETH setting up, I spoke about it earlier. Coffee, yeah, coffee looks really good. Coffee should have, yeah, this wants to go. Coffee is gonna go. This thing's gonna go. I mean, it looks like it wants to go, but very clean. Definitely wants to, in my book. Yeah, should take off. Yeah, I like it. When a given time frame, like 5 hours, overextending requires a reset for a maze to catch up, does that usually correlate with reaccumulation on your validation time frame? Do you have rules around this? I don't use it 30 minutes anymore. When a given time frame is overextended requires a reset, does that? I probably need an image for that. I don't. It might correlate, yeah, with a reaccumulation, sure, or a flush out, sure. Tesla from the 10-day daily 4 hour and 15-minute, not bad. I don't think so. Pretty sure this thing is ugly. Yep, it's awful. Below 200 in a weird accumulation. It's also like a redistribution. 10-day, no matter how you want to swing it, it's under the 10, the 20, and the 50, sloping down. Nowhere near in a setup. Daily's terrible. Wants to go bearish while the entire market is taking off bullish. 4 hour, barely moved into an accumulation, and even at that, it is kind of chopping around under 200. 15-minute, in a longer term range, this is the pinnacle of let me give my money away to whoever is shorting this thing at the moment. I hate it. Looks like shit. Very bad. Not a good find. Extremely terrible. Nothing about this is saying bullishness. Absolutely nothing. Not my setup. Not my setup, for sure. Oracle. Yep. You can see we spoke about it here. That's your delivery. Now new stage one, kind of correcting with the market, same thing. Could start to move higher for sure. Yeah. If we go sideways a bit, you can definitely get a trade on this thing if you want. I think it's weaker than the overall market though, so I probably wouldn't even have it on my list. Yeah, I would not have this on my list. It moves weaker than the market, so it's fine. It's probably going to keep moving bullish, just like we spoke about here, but I would not trade this. It's weak. Weaker to the overall market. Marvel. So technology, something technology related. It's a little choppy. Moves kind of with the market. Took off a little bit with the other cryptos. I think this is a crypto, right? Or something to do with crypto. Didn't go down a lot on the down day, so it has some umph in it, but it's already all the way up here, which is a problem. So honestly, I'd give this a little bit of time. Hopefully, like I said, now this has a little bit of weakness. This goes sideways, let this MA catch up, and then yeah, you could get set up on this. Matt, do you ever look for structure in the MAs? I don't know what that means exactly, but yeah, I want clarity in MAs, of course. Terrible. Terrible. Yeah, it's good. Moves with the market, pretty much, right? What happened here? So, like, earnings gap, probably to stop out a bunch of people. Oh, 3rd of May. What happened on the 3rd of May? This thing gapped all the way up on the 3rd of May. While this thing took way the fuck off down. Then following that, every day since has been like bullish basically, and IR has been bullish as well. So that's not bad. It has prior proof of making moves. Came out, made that 1-2. Yeah, this came out definitely sideways into a 1-2 for now. I don't like this weakness here. That's the one thing that kind of gets in my way. So this just shows me that it's kind of like the market. It's kind of moving with the market. But the upside, actually, you don't have an upside. I'll try QQQ. I just get IR. It looks the same, to be honest, as the market. So I'll probably ignore it. We go over silver, yeah. TNK. Definitely a ton of strength. That's always a good thing to see. Had a ton of accumulation coming into it. Really good trades. Inside of here for sure. You should have taken those for sure. Now you're in the later stages of some of the ICIs, which is okay. It's still tradable, but you need to keep that in mind. You have multiple ICIs higher. Finds itself sideways on the 7-8 here. Has it already provided an entry is a question? It has not. So yeah, this also looks really good like that other stock. Yeah, this looks great. Not bad. Good find. 0.56. Yeah, probably something like this. Not bad. Looks good. Is Google overextended? I don't know. Did you look at it? What does it say? Oh, that was from a while back. Kind of fell down. No, it looks really good. Yeah, this should make a setup this week as well. Let's see, what does this say? Again, I'm not predicting the down move. This is for the relative strength thing. It's a little weaker right now. I don't know why it's weak, but it's a little bit weaker. The moves on this thing are this was earning, so that's a hard one to figure out and do something with. This was the setup for sure. This was a really good setup, kind of like Bitcoin where it had the setup. This is the setup, and yeah, this week it could make a setup somewhere around here for sure. Yeah, it's not bad. It has a past of gapping around a lot, which is problematic. What's happened on earnings? Then bounced up. Cleaned up. It's cleaned itself up on this side. So yeah, it's gonna make a move this week, sure. Been here since March 2022. So Samuel, what's up, man? I feel like I can recite what you say or know what you're about to say before you say it. I just need to lock in and get those 1,000 trades or so. Life's just been so busy. I get it, man. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on in our lives, depending on who you are. All right, guys. It's time to wrap this up. I think we're a little deep. We're deep in the sauce. 2 hours, 40 minutes, so I'm getting tired now, so you know how it goes. Listen, guys, listen. Thank you all so much for pulling up. I hope you were able to take in a lot from today and some of the breakdowns today, and are excited for some of the stuff we have in store coming up. Alrighty, we're gonna stop this recording here. Goodbye there.